Ha ha! Good day, everyone. How are we doing today? Pour my some water. How we feeling today? Speak to me. Cheers to you. Drink some water. It's good for you. Hopefully, y'all did your workout. Got some exercise in. It's Saturday. Enjoying yourself. Good day, Miss Jayla. A random independent. Good day. Genesis I am. What it do? I'm doing well. Hopefully, you're doing good. Hopefully, you don't got no umbrellas. You have a hat. If it's raining. Man, these things just don't cease to stop amazing me. You know what I'm saying, Elite Belzo? I just can't understand how it just keep on happening. What's up, young? Every single moment we find a new reason and a new way for these people to come and show they behind off. And today is no different. I'm just surprised. Victorious one. I am just so surprised that somebody like Pete would share this video of this pastor talking about how we need to remove the 19th Amendment. How is this possible? And this is the problem that a lot of women do have with the Bible, because this man is a pastor, a Christian pastor, So I'm glad that everybody who did participate in all of the voting yesterday, I really appreciate you. And he's supposed to be a community leader, and he's starting to make some headway. He's starting to get other people like Pete to share out his video of saying, hey, we should strip women of their right to vote. They want to take more things away from them. And this is just, and it's getting traction from men and women probably. It's just... Damn, hey, y'all. Y'all ready to cook? I missed you as well. But I just find it so wild in 2025. Like, literally, Prince made a song, we're going to part like it's 1999, because it was just too far away. It didn't seem like it was even real. Now we're in 2025, and it's still men that have influence, men that's in political powers, a man that is a part of the goddamn big office. Now he will say something like this. It just mind boggles me. I just don't get it. So I'm just scrolling through my feed, right? I'm just minding my business, trying to see if Beyonce dropped another surprise album, or if my cousin finally got out of jail, and boom, there it is. Pete Hegseth, he out here promoting his goddamn preacher. Yeah, Fox News Pete. Yeah, that Pete. Looking like G.I. Joe action figure that got left in the microwave too long, Pete. Yeah, that Pete. And this man, this grown-ass man, he posts a video of this goddamn pastor saying we should repeal women's rights to vote. And that women need to submit to their husbands. Hold up. Submit. Yes. We love to have that conversation about that word. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like you're trying to reboot slavery with a gender twist. That's what it be sounding like, man. Y'all don't really be understanding. That's what you sound like. It sounds like you're doing a gender twist of slavery. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Miss Jalen, for real. They are trying to do a slavery gender twist. It's insane. This is why I didn't get a chance to read everything yet. I got to read most of it, and I did watch the video though, and that was interesting as well. Man, and it's just so crazy. Victorious one, it is oppression at its finest, without a doubt. So, I watched the video. First time I was confused, then I got a little offended, and then I was laughing because, like what kind of man says something like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, and plus, Pete, he's been divorced about 3 times, I believe. I'm not sure. But you want women to submit, you couldn't even get one to stay, bro. And you want somebody to stay. Now, listen, I'm not here to bash marriage. I love love. I love commitment. But when a man starts talking about submission like it's some kind of spiritual virtue, and I start checking his browser history because that's not theology. It's not. That's some goddamn red pill incel manosphere, no good suckers, Pornhub ideology. That's what that is. Oh, Pete cheated on his wife, then cheated on his second wife, and with his third wife. Shit is crazy to me. It's insane. It's insane to me. And this man, he has a level of influence. He really does. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people, like, we all know we had, like, if we had grandmas or like, we heard the stories, right? About all the ladies from Mississippi and all this from the Jim Crow Mississippi type of conversations. We know what happened. When you're talking about that, you don't look a white man in the eye, Mississippi type of situation. And we know about all these stories of how excuse me. And we hear all these stories about when women say these things like, a man only gave me a thing. The only thing a man ever gave me was a goddamn headache and a reason to vote. We know that for a fact, conservative. We know they trying to regress us back to something that is just ridiculous. In my opinion, hood conservative, I know hood might have a difference of opinion. So, women, they marched, they organized, voted in every election. It's like, come on. And, like all the old great grandmas and all those things, they didn't just vote for themselves. They didn't just do it for themselves. They also did it for the woman that couldn't vote before them, for the woman that couldn't vote. Like, it was a time. She did it for her sisters who were scared. There was a lot of women out there scared. She did it for her children who needed a goddamn future. So when Pete is out here promoting this women shouldn't vote thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it's all those people from back in the days in the Jim Crow. It's like he's saying that those people did not matter. Civil rights movement did not matter. And this is why it gets me upset. It does, because it just don't make no damn sense. What up, Kills? Dodomite, what up? Because it just don't make no sense. But I will be opening up the panel for anybody that disagrees, agrees, so we can have a conversation about it. We could watch the video together so we can see what this pastor is saying. So make sure that I ain't just throwing words in their mouth. Make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all hitting that share button. I appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank you. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep the conversation going. Because, because black women didn't just like fight for the vote, right? They fought for the soul of this country pretty much, right? Ida B. Wells. Have anybody ever heard of that young lady, Ida B? Right? She was out here dodging lynch mobs. What else she was doing? She was writing newspaper articles. Right? We had Fannie Lou Hamill got beat in jail for trying to register voters. We got Shirley Chisholm. She ran for president when women couldn't even get a credit card without a husband. Come on. Like, if these women heard these things, it's like, they'll rise up out the goddamn grave. Give them Give him one good slap. I'd be was a slapper with a goddamn Chicago Defender newspaper. God damn it. But let's zoom out just for a little bit. Just for a little bit. Just for a little bit. Zoom out. You know what I'm saying? So this ain't just about these goddamn MAGA crazies, right? Because as we see that it ain't just, maybe it is just the right wing. I don't know. Maybe whatever this new thing that's going on, right? Is this symptom, is this disease, right? This disease of nostalgia for a time that existed. These dudes want to go back to 1950s when women stayed home, men wore suits, and racism was just called Tuesday. But here's the twist, right? So the women they want to control are the same women who raised them. Just think about it. Every man who talks about submission was probably raised by a single mom who worked 2 jobs and still made it to church on goddamn Sunday. She didn't submit, she survived. She didn't obey. She overcame. We shall overcome someday. Yay. Hey, MJ, good day. What up, Tiff Attack? You understand? So that's what's going on. This is the craziest part to me. Like when I hear these people just say these crazy things, right? And now, you know, we got all these men and all these sons of these mothers that overcame and survived on YouTube talking about biblical order. Boy, the only thing biblical about you is the plague of ignorance. Boy, stop playing with me. That's the only thing biblical about these dudes. Like, come on, let's be for real. So you like that after that traditional values are the ones who don't live by any. Is that not a coinky dink? They want women to submit, but they cheat on their wives. They want women to stay home, but they don't pay the bills. They want women to be quiet, but they the loudest ones in the room. It's like they read the Bible with a highlighter that, and they only mark out the parts that benefit them. That's what they do. And so men like Pete and this goddamn preacher and all these MAGA crazy people and these red pill incel, these Mansfield, these no good suckers wants women to submit to their husbands. But if women actually did that, half of America would be submitted to a man who still thinks Axe body spray is a cologne. You want submission? How about you submit to a damn job? How about try submitting to a goddamn budget? How about try submitting to therapy? Try submitting to the idea that maybe, just maybe, your mama was right when she said, boy, shut up. Maybe that's what it was. Because the truth is, women don't need to submit. They need to be heard. Women need to be respected. And most of all, they need to vote. God damn it. That's what they need to do. You feel me, Renee? Make sure you're hitting that like and that share button because that really helps us out. You know, I'm trying to get back in the swing of things as I cook up these goddamn crazy people. Now, I would drop the link. I don't know if anybody want to come and rock out with me. I appreciate anybody that would love to. You hear me? Saturday. Hopefully, y'all enjoying yourselves. Out there working out, taking a long drive. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying? You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here rocking with me. So I appreciate you. Hopefully, you're chilling and having a great Saturday. Hold on, let me try to Let me go ahead and pin the message. All right. Let me go pull up this damn video. Let me see if I can. Let me see if this is my guy. Welcome to the show, the Hood Conservative. Good day, sir. How you doing? What's your thoughts? Do you have agreements or disagreements with my little 15-minute monologue?
Well, we always disagree, so that's just the whole point of our conversations. It's all good. I think Pete is right to want to remove women from whatever roles in the military, and honestly, we don't like to have this debate because it's always personal and it's deeply emotional, but nobody wants to talk about the facts and the logic of it. So, like just a Black community perspective, the idea of women voting, one, I don't know if feminism and women voting have really benefited the community on the whole. Really, on a lot of numbers to support that anyway. I was just on my channel talking about how, like, the income gap between Black America and white America before the civil rights era, like, so up until the 50s, it wasn't that far apart. But after the civil rights era and beyond, the income gap between the two groups went crazy. And so it's like Black folk really, really did take a hit after the civil rights era, just from that economic perspective. And so there are a lot of different things to be brought up about the whole idea of women voting. Like, it's also a gaslight to tell Black men that you're supposed to be somehow a leader. Yeah, you're pushing for women to have all of the motion and all of the same voting rights that men have. And so I'm if you want to vote, fine, but don't expect me to take on all the leadership if you want to be co-leader at the same time. Like, it just reveals a level of hypocrisy that I don't think people like talking about.
Interesting. Also, let me welcome to the show my beautiful sister. How you doing? The beautiful MJ. Good day.
What's going on, Sharon? What's up, bro? How you doing? Did you go work out today?
I did, actually, yes. I was up at 4 in the morning. I did my workout.
Cool. I was out there around like 6, stayed there for like 2 hours and 30 minutes. It was good, though. It was good. It was good. So what's the topic for today?
We talking about Pete. So Hood Server, he brought up the fact that he agrees with Pete and how they should take women out of the military and out of leadership roles because men are better at these things. Men have more stake in the military and in the world because they're supposed to be the leaders. And he don't see nothing good out of women being in the military and women voting. So he's on the side with Pete.
Oh, okay. Well, Pete is an idiot, and so is a lot of other individuals, But hey, I mean, they're entitled to their opinion, right? Mm-hmm. One thing about it is, if you was to take women out of the military, then we will be lowering our force. We already don't have that many men who wants to go and sign up to the military as it is. So if you want to talk about protection and security of the country, then that's going to fall dramatically. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Interesting. I gotta say, let me also welcome into the show AR. Good day, sir. How you doing today?
Good afternoon, man. Welcome back. I hope everything's going well. You was gone for a minute.
Appreciate you.
So dude said something about, it sounded like he's actually making the argument that Black people shouldn't vote. And I don't know if he realized it. He's over here talking about, he's kind of equating women voting to something about the per capita, like the income levels of Black and white people, which doesn't make sense. He brings up the civil rights era, but women were voting before then, at least white women were. So if you're going to go back to the civil rights era and right before that, with everything being, based off his assumption or based off of his statistics, more or less equal or not that far apart, and then the civil rights era happened and Black people were able to vote, and then it started diverging a lot, then your argument would be that Black people shouldn't be able to vote because when white people were voting, white men and white women were voting, the per capita was more or less equal.
I totally agree with AR. Shout out to you. Haven't seen you in a long while. Yeah, I mean, because it's the delusion for me, really, right? Because you think that they're going to revert back, and that doesn't include Black people in general, Black men and Black women. That's what's going to happen. I mean, clearly right now, he said he wanted women out of the military. Well, right now is a big push to push all ethnicities out of the military, especially Black and brown. So you're talking about men being in there. They don't even want Black men or brown men or Hispanic men or Indian men in there right now. They're coming up with different policies that is specifically for these ethnicities that they will have an issue with, that they will be administratively separated due to that, because this is something that commonly happens with them and their genetics. So, I mean, it just is what it is, you know, like, I don't know if people really asking what they're asking for, you know, like, or they really know what they're asking for. They're not going to make a few adjustments or accommodations for what the fuck you want. When they want to pull something back, they're going to pull something back in totality.
When it comes to like something like recruitment, over the last couple of years, especially during the Kamala Biden era, military recruitment numbers were incredibly flat. And one of the reasons why they were incredibly flat is because they were literally making commercials with lesbian couples. And so, like, now the image of the American military is some skinny little white girl defending her lesbian mother and mother against terrorism or something like that. And so a lot of young men.
Real quick, I know people like you.
Let them finish. Go ahead.
A lot of young men, they see this advertising and they rightly assume, well, joining the military isn't for me. They must not want people like me in the military. So let those people defend the country, right? And so now you have a completely different shift. We're not doing any more of that kind of rainbow outreach. They're directly advertising to young men, and they're saying we want young men to serve in the military. And the numbers are going up. And I'm specifically countering what the lady was saying about they don't want Black, brown, or whatever. No. They just want men, period, in the military, because the numbers are the numbers. They need men to do these jobs, and they need combat-ready men. That's why Hegseth, he just banned transgenders from pretty much every level of the military. So a couple of weeks ago, you might have found transgenders in uniform doing TikToks. You know, the transgenders doing their makeup in uniform and stuff like that. He kicked all of them out of the military because, like, it's a simple logic. If you are confused about your gender, then maybe you don't have adequate mental health to actually hold a rifle. And so this is a really simple thing. Like, men should be in the army. Transgenders shouldn't be in the army. These are really basic ideas. And so for the sake of not hurting women's feelings, we allow all of this craziness, and now we finally have somebody who's willing to make women upset, and that makes a stronger army. Women being upset with how things done is actually how the army works, bro.
Okay. I know AR wanted to jump in, and I'm pretty sure MJ wanted to rebuttal that as well. I got you, Young. Thank you for your patience. Go ahead, AR.
Yeah, I know people like you, conservative, like to only address women when you're on a panel instead of addressing men. I made a pretty valid point to your first argument. You just completely sidestepped. You didn't even address it at all. You act like I didn't even speak. I know you can hear me because everybody keeps on talking about how my voice sounds. So I know you can hear me. I know if everybody else can hear me, you can hear me. Two, I don't think you're in the military. I don't think you're a senior leader. I don't think you're a recruiter. You don't know the morale in the military because you're not around inside the military. You don't know the difference between, for example, someone in security, Air Force, security forces versus a maintainer versus services versus personnel versus IT. You just don't know these things. So what you're going off of is some bullshit concoction, whatever, that you've put in your head and said, hey, this is how it works. Or maybe you've heard someone else say, you know, I see you like to kowtow to whatever Pete Hegseth says. So maybe that's where you're getting it from. But I'm in the military. I know people in the military. I've been on the flight line. I know the type of morale that's on the flight line. It has nothing to do with ads and on TV about lesbians, gays, or anybody else kissing, getting married. It has nothing to do with that. People not being in, people wanting to get out and not re-enlist, the retention rate falling, recruitment falling. You can say that there's some people that are maybe sexist, racist, whatever, that see that stuff and say, I'm not going to join the military because of that. Sure, you can say that. But the people in, the retention rates aren't low because of some ads on the TV. It's because of morale. And those people that get out talk bad about it because of morale, because they feel like senior leadership doesn't care about them, not because senior leadership believes that gay people should be able to get married, but because they say, oh, you're struggling at home, you can't afford certain things. Well, guess what? Who cares? We're not going to raise, for example, BEH. We're not going to raise BAS, or even more locally, squadron leadership or wing leadership saying, yeah, we know you've been working 12, 14-hour shifts for 6 days straight, 7 days straight. You're going to be doing that for the next 2 weeks as well. So that's the type of stuff that people on the flight line have to deal with, not this bullshit about some ads on TV. And I really can't stand when people like you get on TV, get on something where they have a platform to talk, and they use veterans, they use military members as scapegoats to push their own ideals. You see the same thing with homeless veterans. People don't care about homeless veterans unless they have some other type of ideology they can use them as scapegoats for, as a pedestal, as a stepping stool to talk about something else. So that shit.
It seems
really
oddly personal for you. This is a very clinical argument.
You're
making it very personal.
People that have killed themselves, and so when I hear people like you talk, it's
MJ
annoying.
Want to respond as well. Go ahead. Hey, finish up. MJ want to get in.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. I'm yapping.
Okay, you good right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, MJ, and then give Hood a chance to respond right after MJ. Go ahead, MJ.
Well, I just appreciate our AR because, as you know, Sharon, I'm in the Air Force and I've been in for a very, very long time. I am also senior leadership, and it's very funny to hear someone who don't know a goddamn thing about what's going on in the military trying to tell someone what is going on in the military. These people are so used to reading and listening to propaganda on an everyday basis. They believe everything that a person says is factual. The reason why, like according to AR said, the reason why our manning is going low is due to the morale in the military. There's things that are being changed. Pay is not happening the way it's supposed to. People are working very long hours, basically ruining their marriages and stuff because they're always going overseas and stuff like that. Domestic violence, alcoholism, and we have a high level of suicide rates that are happening in the military that have been going on for the past, 20 years. And according to also what AR stated, nobody gives a damn about how many homeless veterans we have out here. There is still veterans who fought back in the 1960s and 1970s who have not been given their benefits. They are still fighting to get 100% disability for the wars that they fought back there. But nobody gives a damn about that. And it's like, again, using veterans and military people as some way as, this is what's going on. This is why nobody is joining, and this is bullshit. A transgender person never stopped anybody in the military. None. That's bullshit. It never been a problem. It's never been an issue. And yes, here's the thing with the kicker with that. Even though they are letting them go now, they are letting them go with they're letting them go getting paid. So if they volunteer to leave, they get a lump sum of money to leave. That is not going to happen when it goes down to the brown and black people that they're putting in policies now that will affect them by their genetic and by what their race is for them leave. We're not getting no cash out or no check if they come down with a policy that now you no longer fit the qualifications for being in the military, you got to go. Right? But nobody's thinking about that either, right? But I just find it very funny and hilarious. It makes me laugh all the time about how ignorant people are and how people really don't want to do the research. They just want to believe what they want to believe because it sounds good, it sounds nice, it sounds like this is the smart move, and it's not. It really isn't. Especially, and I know AR can agree with me, especially what is happening currently on our side. We can't really talk that much about it, but on our side, on the inside in the house, within the next 5 years, a lot of stuff that's going on is not going to be beneficial to the country or any of the civilians going forward. And I'll drop my mic.
Perfect.
I think, a lot of times when I hear us black folk try to have these conversations about like masculine and feminine order and all that, for some reason, the same thing keeps happening. Because racism you can't think like a man. Because the white man, you can't act like a man. Somehow, because black men are black, we're not supposed to see things the way every other fucking man in the history of everything has saw things. There's only black folk think we're special, and black women can just override the natural base order that black men want to live in. This is just how it simply works. The army is a male space. And so for the army to just be more male, I don't understand why you bringing up images of racism are even a part of the conversation. So because the army becomes more male, that means they're going to kick all the niggas out. That you want people to have fear because that's the only way to really embrace the idea. It's a simple conclusion. If you take the women out, that means more room for men to have jobs. That means more room for black men to have jobs. And so the idea that doing something that's good for men is actually bad because the white man gonna get you, that's the trap that they always throw at black men to keep him on the plantation.
Like I said, that is his opinion, but it's based on opinions and not facts. I gave you facts. Whether you don't want to believe it or not, that's on you. But this is a real thing, a real issue that is actually going on right now. And let's be clear, the military has always been predominantly men. So no one is taking any men positions. Men don't want to go in the military because they want to be outside. They want to be social media influencers. They want to find other ways to make money instead of doing manual labor. Let's call the shit for what it is. Men are not built like the men back then before. They don't want to do back-breaking jobs, period. And you can see that in any industry.
Conservative, have you served? Or are you just yapping about something you've never actually experienced? Just asking for a friend.
No, I haven't served, and I didn't think that was a conversation.
Why didn't you serve?
Does it make you feel better?
Why didn't you serve? Yeah, it does make me feel better that I served. Why didn't
I'm glad you feel good. Thank you for your service, by the way. But no, I didn't serve. How is that? Why is that relevant to men and women serving? Why is that relevant to the topic, though?
Because you said the more women.
Why does this hurt your feelings so much, bro? Why are you so desperate to make this a personal fight?
You said it was personal when you started using veterans.
It was a conversation. I didn't use veterans as anything. I spoke on actual facts. When did I use a veteran for anything? Be specific. When? What did I say about a veteran?
That their people aren't serving, or people don't want to serve and don't want to stay.
That's recruitment. That's recruitment. That's recruitment. That's not veterans. Those are recruitment.
But why didn't you serve? Why didn't you join?
I didn't want to.
Okay. So you said that more women being kicked out means more men will join. But if people aren't, you had the option to join, you chose not to. Other people, to MJ's point, they have the option to join and they don't. This is a known thing where when the economy is doing decent, doing well, people don't really normally join the military. It's a lot more frequent, or retention too. Retention and recruitment goes up as the economy gets worse because it's such a high job security. There's so much job security with the job. So bringing up,
but the issue with men and women, though, you're bringing up stuff that's personal to you because you're triggered. This is about men and women.
You have not. Yeah, but you keep on saying men and women.
If he wants to limit the panel to veterans, that's his call, bro. If he wants to limit the panel to veterans, that's his call. Your feelings don't get to dictate who talks about what, bro.
It's about talking about what you know about, and you don't know about what you're talking about.
But your feelings don't get to dictate that, do they?
It's not about it's not like I'm sitting here being emotional, only talking about my feelings. Like, oh, you made me.
You kind of are, though. You're kind of being very, very emotional by not addressing the actual facts of the issue. You want to make this about me not wearing your uniform, and that's not the argument on the table, bro.
Sir, I've addressed like 6 different things you've brought up, and you have addressed 0 things that I brought up. That when I first spoke, I brought up you bringing up the civil rights era and black.
And that hurt you too. That hurt you too. You felt ignored. You felt unseen, right? I know, bro. Why is it personal?
All right. Hold on. Okay, both parties, hold on. So this is what we're gonna do. Hey, y'all, try to ask him one question, and we're gonna give him a chance to answer that one question if he likes. Go ahead, answer one of the questions that you had brought up earlier.
The original one.
Go ahead. He don't remember.
Huh?
Just bring up any one of them. Go ahead, say it one more time and give him a chance to answer it this time.
The original one about women and women voting. 19th Amendment was way before civil rights era, and you brought the civil rights era and the per capita or whatever verbiage you used regarding black people and white people being separated, or not that separated during the civil rights era. Then after the civil rights era, it exploded essentially. What white women were voting well before then. So white men, white women were voting well before the civil rights era. It was fine. Then it seems that based off your argument, civil rights era happens, black people vote, and now you see that wealth gap. So why is it that your argument is about women not being able to vote and not black people shouldn't be able to vote?
Perfect. Go ahead, Conservative.
Well, I was bringing up a slightly nuanced argument about the civil rights era. Yes, women across the board were voting before the 60s. What I mentioned in the 60s, what I brought up the 60s to highlight, and I'm talking about the economic, the income gap between black and white America, it started to really go crazy around the 60s. And what the significance of the 60s is that basically one of the efforts to solve racism of that time was to also promote women. And so we started to get women's promotion in education, women's promotion in the job force, and that coincides with that spread in the income gap. And so I'm arguing that the whole reason I even brought that up is that we always assume that doing things for women is always a good thing, but we never question the negatives of it.
Okay, so there was a lot of things that happened around the civil rights era, and you seem to be only focused about the women supposedly being promoted in certain fields and whatever. Again, I'm going to ask, why is it only the women, not the tens of dozens or whatever of the other things? For example, it wasn't just women being promoted to these leader positions. It was black people. So why is it that instead of tell us why taking women out of these positions is a better thing than taking black people out of these positions based off the civil rights era?
Well, one, I don't associate women as black people. That's a weird mental correlation. I think black women are black women and black men are black men. And so if you put a man in a particular job, if it's a type of job that he can have the kind of salary where he can raise a family, then that's at least one family unit being created. When you put women in that job, you don't necessarily create that family unit. And that's kind of what we are seeing the numbers bear out over the years. Like putting men in positions to actually provide for a family tends to create families. Putting women in positions that will actually provide for a family doesn't get the same amount of family creation.
You're not answering the question.
That is the answer to the question. That's why, because it doesn't give you the families that you want.
Rephrase the question.
Wait, so let me ask you a question then. So is your main focus is just seeing families, or is your main focus healthy families, right? Because we can see what toxic families look like, right? We can see what deranged families look like, right? So I don't think that the main goal is just to see people fucking hooked up and linked up. It's either whether or not we're having healthy families.
I think that goes without saying. Nobody ever argues for dysfunction. So it's automatically healthy families. Who's arguing for toxicity?
I mean, it's not about arguing about toxicity. It's just that knowing that is there. That element is there when people link up. So, I mean, that should be, if anything, the big push, not just telling people to link up and we'll figure shit out later on.
I don't know if that's really the truth of it, and not just you, but there is this general sense. I mean, there's this general pushback when you talk about family unit. A lot of women automatically assume that it's just going to be bad, and so therefore, why even bother? And I think that's kind of crippling the game before you even get into it.
Well, it's not about assuming; it's about actually seeing the stats. It's actually about seeing the stats. Even when we go back to where we can go back to the 80s and the 90s, there were a high level of single moms that was teens going to school, having daycares and stuff like that. That wasn't family, but but people was being made though, right? Well, we had the whole teen pregnancy epidemic, so we seen stats and records of what happened when people was just linking up, hooking up, and producing children, but there wasn't no family. The families were still broken. The marriages were still going down. So I don't think that we should just be promoting people hooking up.
I don't even understand where you're coming from. Who is promoting people hooking up? But by me mentioning family formation, why do you automatically jump to
Well,
teenagers
because you're
humping
not
and having
mentioning,
babies?
because you're not, I will say this. I will be assuming that you're only talking about family structure because you're not mentioning anything else that will create a healthy family structure. You're only talking about that you want the dynamic of a husband, a wife, a father, a mom, and children. So you're not referencing whether if this is a healthy environment. So that's the only reason why I'm going by that.
It's
You
literally
instead
healthier
being
by default, though. Everything
no,
you
it's not
mentioned,
healthy by
having a
default.
husband, a
It's
wife.
not healthy by
Hold,
no,
hold,
it's
hold, hold,
not.
Let her
hold on.
finish.
Let me explain. Let me explain. Let me explain.
Just let her finish her thought, and you got it right after her.
Yeah.
So you get
No,
the
I'm
chance
just
to
saying
finish
that
your thought.
we can't say that it's healthy by default because it's not. We see examples
Well,
that those situations can have negative outcomes. And we have record of when we had a whole period of when it had negative for us as a community, for the marriages going low, for teen pregnancies going high. So we have those records. So we can't just act like those things don't exist.
I've always seen 2-parent, 2-income households being better than one-income household. So I don't know what
yeah,
he's talking
like
about.
healthier by default. Like I said, my whole
Two
starting
parent,
position.
2-income, yeah. But if a
My
woman is
whole.
submitting to her husband and not voting and not working, as to your point, you don't want her to be working, then that's not a two-income household.
I never really said not working, but my
Well,
whole
you did because you
starting
said you want
position.
to take the women. You
We were
said the
talking
civil
about the
rights era
military, bro.
encouraged women to join. We're not
We
only
were talking
talking
about
about
the
the
army.
military.
We're talking
The
about
civil
the
rights,
army.
the
We're
civil
literally
rights,
talking about the
the
army.
civil rights era wasn't. No, it wasn't.
You
You brought
introduced
up.
extra
Hold on.
stuff,
Okay, hold
bro.
on. Let me get
And
up
I was trying to respond to the lady. I was trying to respond to the lady before
No,
y'all
you
keep
were. You don't
taking
want
me
to
over.
address
Hold
men.
on.
You
All
are
right,
weird.
so let Hood get a chance to respond, and then we're gonna open up to that question. I like that question. Go ahead, Hood.
The whole thing. First off, when you said teenagers having kids, the very idea of a man and a woman getting married, then having children is automatically healthier than just teenagers getting knocked up. So I don't understand how we threw that in the mix. Now, dude, I never said that women aren't supposed to work. I was talking about the army being a male-centered space, so most of that should be for men, especially like stuff like combat roles and all that. It's definitely going to be men stuff, and there's going to be women in the army because there's going to be like clerical and nursing and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, most of that stuff is going to be men. And the idea that there shouldn't be roles that are just mostly men, I don't know why this is such a controversial statement.
It's that because that's not the statements you were saying before. That's not the statements that Pete is saying or sharing videos of.
Well, play the statements then.
I understand that you like to back pedal, and so you can kind of feel some type of strong foundation you can stand on instead of the bullshit you spit originally. But that's not what we're doing here. We're forcing you to stand on what you said originally and what you say in between. I understand you are confused about what you're saying. You were the one that brought up the civil rights era. You spoke first. You came on here and spoke first and brought up the civil rights era and the income levels between black and white people. That had nothing to do with the military at all. So don't then, when I start talking about civil rights era, talk about these other things, come at me and say, pause, you were only talking about the army. You were only talking about the military, because that's not the only thing you were talking about. Understand what you're saying when you say it.
All right. With that quick little, I'm not sure his microphone went out. Let me read some of these super chats. I appreciate you. Shout out to Ghost Rider. He says women's suffrage started in the 1800s because white women only wanted the right to vote before black men. They didn't care about voting until then. Okay. I like it. Microphone check. 1, 2. What is it? Shout out to you. Thank you. It has been a problem on Navy ships when you sleep in the same quarters. Women are usually naked around each other because they feel comfortable. Ghost Rider with the $10. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. The military was the first to do DEI for the last 30 years. There was a push for female senior NCOs and officers. Standards were lowered. Now you have trans surgeries being advertised for recruitment. That sounds crazy. Also, we have microphone check with the fireball. Says it's the same type of thinking that promotes support for young boys like Dwayne Wade's son to transition while telling men you don't like sassy men. But nobody, Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Ghost Rider, 2-parent households are best for society and children. Health and Human Services and the CDC have tons of data on it. Single mom households are the worst. Some strong super chats right there.
Yeah. Again, people not serving, giving their opinion on the military. A big reason there was a push for women to be senior NCOs and officers is because a lot of men were in those positions abusing women under them. And then it was also men in IG, men in other positions of power above them that was letting them get away with it. Even today, officers get slaps on the wrist for the things that they do to enlisted or to other officers. I mean, granted, they get an LOR and it's kind of a career ender or whatever, but they still get to retire. Like, they're still going to retire, man. It's very difficult for an officer to get hit, specifically if they're like a lieutenant colonel, colonel, general, to get hit with something that, to get hit with a dishonorable discharge. Like, it's usually a reduction in rank, but they get to retire. So if you're a general, you get hit maybe down to colonel, you retire as a colonel. You're still getting those retirement benefits. You're still getting great things. So that's one of the reasons there was a big push. And same thing and again, these same arguments can be made for Black people. Like, it's very weird to hear someone supposedly Black to talk like a white person as if white people don't say the same thing about you. It's like the same arguments are said by racist whites. Oh, the military has gotten worse ever since we started letting Black people in. When we started pushing them to be in positions of power, that's when readiness and all this stuff started degrading. That's when those things started happening, when Black people got into power. So you got to understand that there's racist whites that aren't really as sexist as you are. So like, they're going to blame the stuff on the Black people, not the women first. And the same arguments you use against women will be used and are used in their minds against you. So yeah, I'm not a fan of people using the military as scapegoats, as stepping stools to push their own agenda, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, there's more than just a DEI reason that women were pushed for these into positions of power, and it's because people were being abused, and women coming forward either were being told not to, weren't encouraged to. When they did, nobody would believe them. People were getting away with shit, and you see a drastic decline in that. Or hopefully things get better by helping with Sapper, pushing that platform out and stuff. I'm giving military jargon, but whatever. The point being is that's one of the reasons that women were kind of pushed for that.
It's funny, AR, because you can actually see that in every industry, right? That was why women was being pushed more into higher levels in corporation, because the woman who was the underling or the secretary or the executive assistant, they were being put in harsh situations or coerced situations to dibble and dabble sexually with men in the office, and they couldn't say anything because they would lose their job. So we've seen it in many different industries as well as the military. It's nothing new. It's just that there are men who will use their position to put women in very uncomfortable and compromising situations. And that's something that has to be addressed. So I find it weird too when you said that when the shoe's on the other foot, and now it's just amongst men and men. When that same type of mentality or ideology is used against different men, it's a problem. So you understand it then, but you don't understand it when it comes down to gender, because it's just in totality, just like you don't look at women as human beings. You don't look at women as human beings. You don't look at women as people, or not even on the same level as a man. And it just shows. It just truly shows.
Yeah, and to address two things, somebody said something about women only being wanted to vote in the 1800s. I think they should maybe study up more on history. Women could vote in New Jersey, for example, during the Constitutional Convention, state convention. They allow women to vote. So obviously that there was a push for women to be voting, at least in New Jersey. Since then, and I'm sure there was others. You're probably bringing up, Susan B. Anthony's quote about, something about white women should be able to vote, or educated white women should be able to vote before a uneducated Negro or whatever. Maybe that's where you're kind of stemming that from, but maybe do some more historical research. And to his point about combat roles and women and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to exclude women. If women can meet the standards, and I agree, he's going to say something, lowering standards, blah, blah, blah. I agree that there should be a high standard. The people in that career field, the senior leaders of that career field should be making the standard, not some random civilian going off of what he believes should be the standard that he's never even tried to meet in his life. So yeah, I agree there should be a standard. That standard is going to self-select. Women, generally speaking, are not, biologically speaking, they're not going to meet the same demanding standards as a man can. But there are some that can meet the standard that other men can't. So don't just ban women from these roles when they can perform these roles just fine. You can look in other countries as well. The Kurds have Kurds have multiple female-only combat units that do amazingly well. So you know, it's just a dumb argument. I'm for freedom, I'm for standards, and I don't believe in just outright banning people just because. I think trans is a separate argument. He brought that up, but then wanted to say we're only talking about women. I don't know where he's going with it, but whatever.
And another thing that to point out, when it comes down to the standards, with the standards, there's certain career fields that women cannot join still, right? And there has been very few, when I mean very few, I think less than 1% of women who have been able to pass, like going to Sears training, going to Ranger school, and things of that sort, right? It's not a lot. So again, if it was about taking positions from men, there's not. Even majority of the men can't even pass those trainings on their own. So again, it's assuming that every man is fit for the task, and every man is not fit for the task, but automatically believing that there is no woman that's fit for the task is just kind of crazy. And to piggyback off of what AR said, is not only with the Kirks, the Israeli have a whole women unit too. So we got literally other countries who are having women in their military, and they see it as a benefit. And then you got men in our country saying that it's not a benefit and wants to lower our manning already when we're already decreasing. It's just beyond stupid to me.
It's first world problems. You know, they don't have to fight for survival. Israel and the Kurds do, which is why they have the conscription. Other countries do as well.
And shout out to Microphone Check with the $10. He says, what about the women, even NCOs, punished for prostitution and manipulation from sexual relationships, fraternization, and false allegations? There's BS on both sides.
And he's absolutely right. And those women, when they are found out, they are held accountable. Absolutely. Absolutely. If that is happening on the other side, yes, those women need to be held accountable for it. They can't just get away and just say that, oh, even if I was dealing with a lower enlisted, that I was coerced. No, there is no coercion in that, because you're in a position of authority. So that's what I'm saying. When you're dealing with position of authority, when you're dealing with more morality, integrity, and policies and stuff like that, that supposed to apply to everybody across the board. It should not be, because of your particular gender, because of your race, whatever not, religion, whatever not, you get a pass.
I like it.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say that we also get into, you know, the debate about combat roles. Again, someone that's not in the military talking, but it's, you know, what's a combat role? Someone that sees combat or in a combat zone, for example. Like the C2 centers in Ukraine, the combat control centers in Ukraine are getting hit. Ukraine itself, you know, is a combat zone. So are they considered combat comm, or not combat comm, but combat, are those considered combat roles because they're literally seeing combat, they're getting blown up? Or do you have to be firing a gun? Well, if you're down at a FOB, at a forward operating base, and you're sitting there and you know, let's say you guys are being attacked, you might have to pick up a gun and shoot, but you might be IT. You might be working at the directory for your day job. Are you considered a combat role then? So it's like, you know, there's really a gray area between what's considered a combat role, specifically in war, and what wouldn't be. So if you want to, you know, exclude women from combat roles, do you also exclude them from combat zones? Because it's more or less a combat zone is because you can see combat. It's given that you can see combat at any point. So exclude them from that too, right? So, you know, talking about readiness, to MJ's point, we're already retention levels, recruitment levels, whatever the reason may be, they are low, and we're in more heightened, you know, we'll probably see a hot conflict with China within the next 5 years, if not sooner. And you're talking about lessening our readiness rather than pushing for a higher readiness, higher retention, higher recruitment. And that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I chill out with all the military lingo. Okay, can give up too much information. All right.
I ain't giving you know, this is all, it's not opposite. This is all, you know, regular shit.
Yeah, but no, to his point, you're absolutely right, because in the military in general, it doesn't matter if you're a cook or you are a battle captain. Everybody's supposed to be able to know how to pick up and defend when they need to be. Yes, you're going to have your own different career fields, but you still need to know how to fight. You still need to know how to join the fight when the fight is brought to your door. So this is what we are trained for. It doesn't matter what you're doing. When it comes down to shoot 'em up, bang, bang, you're going to have to be ready to go. And that's what it's supposed to be about. That's what it was. So, I mean, like, again, the AFSC situation or the positioning situation, there is no positions being taken away from men. There are none. There are none at all. In fact, in the military, you can create as many goddamn fucking positions and different fucking careers and stuff that you choose to, depending on the commander in charge. So it's just like, again, it's just a level of not knowing, right? That is being kind of like displayed, and we're just here just to correct it just a little bit. But like I said, he's entitled to his opinion, and I'm not saying that, he can't say it. That's how he feels. I'm sure there's a lot of other individuals that feel like him, and it's all valid regardless.
It ain't valid. It's just an opinion.
Shout out to Ghost Rider with the fireball. He says, "Sharp (parentheses me too) was created for all the real and fake claims of SA. Women who didn't snitch on their chain of command got promoted quickly."
Yeah, I mean, Sharp was pretty bad, I would say, when it first came out. There was a lot of pretty much just, I mean, even now in the military, it's like, if we're taught, well, at least in the Air Force and all the trainings I've been in, it's like, if someone has any ounce of alcohol in them, it's considered sexual assault / the other word that I won't say right now. So like there's definitely things that the military could and should do better, in my view. Obviously, in the real world, if you go out and have a glass of wine and then you have an intercourse with someone or do some sexual act or whatever, you don't consider yourself sexually assaulted. But in the military, technically speaking, you could then be charged with sexual assault or whatever. There was a lot of men are pretty much just walking sexual assaulters, essentially, was the beginning of Sharp, basically what they were saying and stuff like that. So thankfully some things have gotten better, other things still need to be better and improved upon. But I think overall, a lot of these programs to help women and men, because a lot of men don't come forward, to try to help them come forward and put their accusers to the law is a good thing. And I'm not for dismantling that or talking down about it.
Yeah. I also think that it's interesting that I'm not sure if he's back yet. He said he'd be right back. But I think it's interesting that he want women's right to vote to be, you backtrack on that, but he still wants them to go to work. That is wild to me as well.
He again, backpedaling. His logic doesn't line up, but he's like, well, I never said that. And it's like, it's inferred upon based off of what you're saying. Yeah. So I don't know. People like him they're just weird, and it's like it can't happen to me. It's like the Trump voters, like the undocumented Trump voters, like the Venezuelan chick down in Florida or whatever, who was, we're voting for Trump, and then she got deported. Y'all remember that shit? She was the leader of the Venezuelan, whatever it was.
I believe in Texas. I believe is the dude that made the Trump burgers. He put Trump on the top.
I just saw it. He deported. It's like these people think, again, it's the same mindset when they speak. It's talking about these other people, talking about how it's only in their head, it only impacts them. It won't ever be used against them. And it's weird because, like, you can just go throughout the history, a lot of these people also, if there was a Venn diagram, there would be a big overlap between these people and the same ones that believe in not trusting the government. And the government, you give the government power, they're going to use it for powerful reasons for the government's interest. And so you look at something like RICO. My girl and I talk about it a lot, where I just feel like RICO was essentially made for combating the mob and stuff. And that was the reason. But then they start using it for, in my opinion, things that was never supposed to be used for. But by the letter of the law, it can be used for that. So like Lil Durk, who I would debate whether he should really qualify for being hit with a RICO, but he's being hit with a RICO. Right. Young Thug was hit with a state RICO. And it's like, so these things get made for a specific reason, then get used for something else. And so this rhetoric that you use will be used against you. It might be used only on women now, but to MJ, what MJ is trying to say, And what other people are trying to say, and you can say it's fear mongering or whatever, is that the rhetoric used now can be used against you as well. The same rhetoric that you use against women about the civil rights era can be used about black people in the civil rights era. And it's, you know, it's like they don't have a switch upstairs that they can flip on and understand the logic applied differently or applied in another situation. They understand only in the situation they want to apply it.
Yeah, and it is a very strange situation, because if it was to happen, right, and they did, you know, take away their rights to vote, and then they tried to take away their right to vote, all of a sudden they will want every black person to be on their side marching down the street, because in the civil rights time, guess what? Women was marching as well.
They were.
So like, like this whole idea that
there was even women in you know, 1865 or the 14th Amendment and 13th Amendment and 15th Amendment. There were women. There was a split in the suffrage movement, because some women were like, what, to Susan B. Anthony, if I'm not mistaken, her point, you know, educated white women should be able to vote. Uneducated Negro shouldn't be able to vote over us. But there was other women that were like, no, we should support this because our time will come. So it's you know, it's one way to look at history. It's one perspective to be like, oh, all women or all white women were against it, when there was plenty of women that were supporting it back then as well, even though they knew at that time that they were not going to be able to vote.
Yeah, that is true. That is definitely true, especially where I live at. Susie B. Anthony did speak here. They have a whole plaque and everything for her. She spoke here many years ago.
Yeah, Ida B. Wells, Shirley Chisholm. We got a bunch of people that, you know, a bunch of women that is did their damn thing. They was fighting on the front lines for all these situations, and I think it's wild that it's going to be possible that this pastor, he even probably going to have women on his side for them to be backing him so they can get their own rights taken away, which is crazy to me.
Right, because that's funny though, right? Because you want to take and strip women's rights away, but then when your fucking black ass rights get put away, now it's not we're just black but we're just black men and black women. We're black people. We're black people. We got to band together again and figure this out. Now it's all let's come along and be along, but it's not like that when they want to fucking strip something away from you. And it's funny because it's the biggest fucking playbook that we're seeing right now.
Right now, it's happening today. And they slowly trying to get people convinced where they can have a big enough movement to keep it moving in that direction. That's the scary part about it. And we got to nip it in the bud. That's what Grandma said. Grandma said, you got to nip it in the bud, because if we keep allowing this rhetoric to keep on pushing, it could get dangerous out here for us real quick in a hurry. Conservative, you back? You good?
Yeah, I'm back.
I wonder how many of these people, how many of these people do you think have went up to their mother and been like, you know, you're the reason that that the nation sucks right now. It's because you were able to vote. You shouldn't be able to vote. How many of them do you think have done that or would do that?
Right.
Or do they just come on panels anonymously and speak, you know, what they say, but don't actually say it to the women in their close personal circle?
Conservative, what's your thoughts on that? Do you believe that your mother, your aunts, your wife, your girlfriend, your child's mother, whatever, I'm not sure what your relationship status is, but the women that are in your family, do you believe that it is a case for them to tell them that they should not have a legal right to vote?
I actually told my oldest daughter, don't worry about voting. It's not that important.
But did you tell her that she shouldn't be able to vote?
Well, I mean, when we actually had the conversation, I did explain to her why, I don't think women should be able to vote. I mean, I'm not shy if that's what you think. No, I explained to her flat out why I don't think women should be able to vote. The simple answer.
I want to understand, if you don't mind, what did you tell your child why she and other women should not have the right to vote? What was the logic behind that?
Well, the simple answer is that one, men actually have to pay for their right with conscription, and women don't. So that's just a basic inequality. And then two, not only that, what winds up happening, the cumulative effect of it all is basically that you get to vote the money out of my pocket. Over time, that's basically what winds up happening. It's like a wealth transfer from men to women.
From men to women. Why? Because women can vote?
Yeah, that's literally why. Yeah.
So where's this wealth transfer to the black community? Because black people were able to vote. Why is there not? You said that the wealth gap has widened since black people have been able to vote since the civil rights. So why has that widened if it's just voting is just a transfer of wealth to another community?
Well, I didn't say another community. I said from men to women.
So why is it all right, dude? You don't have to be. It's semantics. Black people were able to vote in the civil rights era. Since the civil rights era, you said the wealth gap has increased for the benefit of white people. So it's higher for white people, or the wealth gap between black people and white people has gotten larger, not smaller, or black people have overtaken white people. So why is that the case? If people being able to vote means that the wealth transfer will benefit the person voting, the new person being able to vote.
You're making this white black, and I'm making this man woman, and it's like we can't speak the same language.
What did I just say? I just told you they don't. It's like a switch up in their head. They don't understand what they're saying. I think that I don't know if it's because they just regurgitate shit that they've heard on the news or something, and they never actually thought about it or whatever, never did any type of critical thinking, or what the issue is. But it's the same logic, my guy. The same logic I'm saying is what you're saying.
It's not the same at all. That's the problem.
It's not. And white.
It's actually not. It's actually not the same argument. That's why it's like you don't even understand what you're trying to say.
Okay. All right. So you saying that because women have a right to vote. Let me get an understanding. Because they have a right to vote, it's been a transfer of money from men to women.
More or less, yes.
Okay. Now, do you have, besides the theory, do you have stats to back it up, or is just your thought on it?
How much money does the government spend on women versus on men? It's really that simple. You can look it up.
But they don't keep that money; they spend it.
And you believe that's because women have the right to vote for these things, and that's the only reason why the government is giving them more assistance to women than men? That's what you basing it on?
Well, like I said, the cumulative effect is that.
Wait, so I just want to understand who conservatives. I'm not trying to attack you. So you're trying to say that by women having an income, it has decreased men's income, and that if women element wasn't there, then men would be paid more.
That's literally true. Yes, your income makes his income go down.
Wow.
Okay, so I understand why you would believe that, but I'm going to tell you that is not true. It's not true, and I guarantee you, if women didn't have an income, or they couldn't participate in the workforce, you still wouldn't be getting paid more money the way that you think you're going to get paid. Okay, they would just hoard all the resources like they have been doing this whole entire time. It's not going to change. They're not going to change the playbook. So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but it's not going to work out the way that you think it's going to work out. It's not like they're going to take the $50,000 that they're paying the average woman out there in whatever position she is and add it on to the income that they already give you. That's not how that's going to work.
That was a great explanation for it. Shout out to HQ Reacts with the follow. She says, "How dare you come back on a day I was so bored? I'm looking to get into trouble. Welcome to the show, HQ Reacts. How you doing?"
Hey, Sharon. Hello, panel. How are you? You hear me, right?
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, welcome back. Welcome back, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is a phenomenon all over the world with birth rates going as low as they are. And I just had to come up and tell a story. Okay. I was on the panel the other day, and a gentleman said, you know what? We need to take all you women's rights away. We need to take the food stamps, the Section 8. We need to take all the help that you guys can get. And then you'll be able to come over and be the proper wives that y'all supposed to be. I said, what? Wait a minute. What the hell is going on? That a person would come out and just absolutely say that. And then I had no pushback whatsoever from any of the gentlemen on the panel. So this is not it's just not a United States thing. This is a thing that's going on all over the globe. If you look at some of the countries that are rolling back women's rights, it's because they think that we've developed so many rights. You can't be a wife to people anymore. Nobody wants to get married anymore. It's like now we're really in. I think we're in trouble. I think women are really in trouble. Women.
It's a little scary to hear people push out this rhetoric because of pretty much of dating and how they are lonely for a lack of a better word. I don't even understand it, to be honest with you, because I don't want. It's weird. Ghost Rider with the 5 says Black men have always advocated for the Black family first. Black women all through history advocated for gender first, race second, aka intersectionality.
Wrong. Black men think that them advocating for Black family is advocating for their best interest, because Black women and children was still suffering while they were trying to get their best interests.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not sure how advocating, when the 14th Amendment was passed, was the 15th, whichever, Black men were able to vote. Black men were advocating for Black women to be able to vote. So to say they advocated for the Black family, to MJ's point, it seems more like they advocated for something they were in control of, which was the Black family rather than the Black community at large. Because if they were advocating for the Black community at large, I think they would have advocated for Black women to be able to vote, because they have as much stake in this country as anybody else.
I like it. Ghost Rider 2 bars. More people in the workforce equal lower salaries. I do not know if I agree with that.
It's also kind of irrelevant, because if you want a 2-parent household, if you're saying that 2-parent household is the best, then you would want 2 incomes in that 2-parent household, unless you're trying to argue that you take women out of the workforce and somehow your pay is going to then double to equal the same as that 1-parent or that 2-parent household, which will not happen.
That's the math, bro. That was the math before a lot of women who took the workforces, men's wages were a lot higher.
No, and which career fields?
Across the board. And not only that, a lot has changed over time. Like we had more.
What are the most male-dominated career fields?
Probably manufacturing, but we lost our manufacturing base over the years.
Yeah, thankfully.
What about construction?
Wait, what's wrong with you?
What about construction?
What's wrong with you? You want to sit here and have everybody working these retarded ass manufacturing jobs, breaking their back, working for a pension that they might never see because the company could go bankrupt, instead of working a better job where they have more free time on their hands, where their back and knees and arms don't ache at 40. They can enjoy life with their children. They can retire early. They can do all these things. You guys hate progress, and it's weird. You manufacture from a manufacturing economy to a service economy, and that's a good thing. If you can get someone to make it for $2 and sell it here for 20 rather than making it here for 20 and selling it for 40, it's on you to tell us how that's a bad thing. Unemployment is at all-time lows. So it's not like we need more jobs here. We have jobs here. We have plenty of jobs here. We have what we need here.
I like it. And this idea that, what the real problem is that what it sounds like to me is that if they could force women to not vote and they got to depend on their husband to vote and they got to depend on their husband to make money, that's the way of them, oppressing women, or at least getting women to stay in the house and have a relationship with a woman, because now that woman is forced to be with a said man. And now it's just going to go back to the 1950s, how I said earlier. And then now, you can kind of do what you want to a woman whenever you want to. And that's what they really want to go back to. They love that shit. Yeah, they don't want to go to the moral standard of they have to be strong character men, and you got to find a woman that want to be with you.
Why can't they just evolve? Why can't you just evolve to a higher being other than just the base human being that they want to be? They want to be a caveman, put her in the house, make her cook, clean, do all, and have babies. And that's all you want to do is go out and work, and you want to do what you want to do when you come home. Why you can't evolve beyond that right there? I asked another gentleman the other day, why can't you just want to do more than what you want to do, except come home and cook, sit on the couch? And he was like, men just want to be, they just want to exist. Why you women always want to push us to do X, Y, and Z? And I was like, because it makes you better, a better human being. What do you mean? Why would we want to push you to do better? It's like talking to a brick wall.
People say that evolve shit, but they just want you to be more like women. That's all that really boils down to. Be more like the chicks.
What do you mean?
That's all it means when they say
Well, then that means
evolve.
that
And they
women
use these
are more
fancy
involved.
words.
What do you mean, like when more like
That
women?
means
What do
no.
you mean?
That's perfect because women are the more involved creatures. Yes, absolutely. Be more like women.
And what do you mean? What do you mean by be more like women? What do you mean?
Right. So what do you mean by so you don't think, according to what you're saying, you don't think that men should evolve?
Could have stopped at you don't think.
I don't know what that means. I think you just mean be more like women.
Okay,
You tell me what it means.
What does that mean? What does that mean to be more like women? What does that mean in the context of evolve? That's what they're asking you. You slow motherfucker.
Well, since it's your goal, you explain your goal.
When you hear this dude talk, do you think that he has? Do you honestly think he's here all the way? Respectfully, like I mean that with all respect due.
That's wild.
Y'all hear him, right? Like,
I know that you can't counter the issue though.
If he told you that he rode the short bus, would you guys be surprised? Would you guys be like, really? I
But you can't actually counter the point though. You can't even tell me what you think it means though. I said it means being like a woman. You haven't had a couple. You can't really counter that yet.
We don't know what being like a woman
means.
Okay.
We don't know what that means.
Hold on. So let's get him to stand on that. So what does it mean for a man to be more like a woman? What does that mean?
I imagine you mean being more emotional or something more. I don't even understand what you want from men at that point. So I just assume be more like a woman. You tell me what it means then.
No, so hold on. So we didn't when I say, right, and I'm pretty sure the people on the panel, when they say men need to evolve, we are not talking about evolve into women like. We're talking about they need to evolve mentally, they need to evolve with their character. They need to evolve with
into what? What does that look like?
Okay, so what does it look like? It means that they be able to communicate better. They could be, so the idea that men are supposed to be harsh on their wife and their children is a fallacy. It's false, right? A man that is being a man of the household, they actually are more calm and they more patient with their children and their wives. Right, so you don't have to be aggressive with your wife to be manly. You can actually be more understanding to your wife and your children. That's being manly, giving your woman grace, your wife grace. That is manly. So you evolve into taking care of your family. You put more responsibility on your character, and you become and you do the hard things in life. So that's evolving. So now, do you agree or disagree on that level of?
It sounds like talk softer and use more words like a woman. Maybe we'll just agree to disagree.
No, so
do you think you should talk harshly? Do you think?
So hold on. So you're gonna address what I'm saying, or are you just gonna? Because you just accused AR of not addressing something, and I gave you an example of what it means to evolve as a man. And so now, do you agree or disagree with that? Men can't evolve to that.
I guess I'm unevolved, so I don't use that many words. Everything you said sounds like be more like a woman.
So now, perfect. So now, you saying it sounds be more like a woman when I say take on more responsibility. So taking on more responsibility means act like a woman.
It is be softer. Don't be as harsh. Don't be as judgy. Be more like a woman.
I'm asking you very direct questions. Taking on more responsibilities in your family, if that's being more.
Well, that was one thing that's not that was one thing, but the other stuff didn't really sound like that one thing though.
Okay, so you don't agree with that one. Okay, so now number two, so you don't agree with, even though you are stronger and physically more powerful than your children and your wife, you don't believe that you should show more grace to your family?
I think men do that anyway.
Right, I'm actually, do you think that should be, do you think that is womanly? Do you think that's acting like a woman by showing grace to your family? Do you think that is being a woman?
I think that's the natural man's role anyway.
Okay, perfect. So now my next question. So do you think a man nurturing his family to be the best version of themselves. So a husband nurturing his wife to be the best version of herself. A husband or father nurturing his children to be the best version of themselves. Is that what you consider womanly?
This is all very manipulative language. What does nurturing your wife mean?
Yeah, he lost. I told y'all.
That's right. So you could nurture your wife to rest in her femininity, right? So you could nurture her and say, hey, we are rocking together. We are going to invest in your health. We're going to invest in your business. We're going to invest in you staying at home and making a homestead. We're going to invest in you and holding your character so you can have more time to read. Whatever that is for you and your wife, you can nurture your wife so she can be more of herself. So that's what a version of nurturing can mean for nurturing her as a wife. So now, again, do you think that is manly or womanly?
A little bit, yeah. It sounds a little girlish to me. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. So now, what is
You want me to
girl?
paint the nails too? Want me to perm her hair for it?
I never said nothing about doing your wife's hair or her fingernails.
Maybe that's what he wants to do, and he just wants to come out.
And again, so like when we just break it down, right? When we're not just throwing words at each other, it's starting to sound like you actually agree that men need to evolve into those things because a lot of men are lacking in those things. They are not moving forward in progression with life.
I don't agree. I think that's just how it is, especially if you're like in a marriage or whatever. You're probably going to be like that anyway. So it's not that I agree men need to evolve.
Are you married, conservative? Respect. Are you married?
Bro, you are so You're just so nosy about my life, bro. Stop asking me personal questions.
I'm just asking you because you're talking.
How about you stop asking me personal questions, bro?
Well, I would, but the thing is that a lot of people, when they're having trouble understanding something or want to understand something better, it helps if you can make it a little bit more personal for them. So, like when they're saying, "Oh, someone needs to evolve" or whatever.
Don't understand me. Understand the argument. Understand what I'm trying to say. Don't try to understand my life, bro.
Everybody else on the panel understands what they're saying except you. We have to talk to you like we're talking to a 12-year-old, and you don't even understand that.
Well, you know,
he's talking to you like you were his son. And he was like, "Hey,
you know what's interesting about you saying that? He did say that, Sharon, he must work with I must work with special needs people because how much patience I have to have a conversation with people."
this is like, they brought up D Wade and his son or whatever, daughter, whoever. Well, I don't remember who turned into what, but I imagine the conversation, the tone, and everything kind of being like that. Like this, like him talking to conservative, your tone and your patience and everything is probably how D Wade had to handle his conversation with his 12-year-old or however old they were. It's crazy.
I mean,
the dude is really over here. What do you mean by nurturing? What do you like, motherfucker? What does your girlfriend ask you to do? What does your wife ask you to do? Do you think you should yell at your wife when she does something wrong? Anytime she does something wrong? Everybody that's here, you work in construction. I'm in the military. I've been on the flight line. Mo is in the Navy. We all understand how men act around men. We all understand that we might say something that we would never say to a woman as a joke. We hear these things. You don't understand. Conservative apparently doesn't understand that what we say on the flight line, what we say in construction, what we say on the ship, where we say whatever, maybe we shouldn't say those things to our wife, to our daughter. He is confused by this concept.
I got a question.
It confuses me. He's confused.
All right, so we got HQ, in the line, and then we're gonna welcome into the show. MO, good to see you. Go ahead, HQ.
Okay, I got a question for him. Does he believe in female autonomy? That's a level of somebody evolving, or a man evolving, when he understands and accepts that reality. Is that something that you accept or not?
Autonomy in what context? What do you mean?
That answer is no, HQ, but you can ask him again or rephrase it.
It's like letting a woman. It's like respecting a woman and her rights and her choices, like respecting her decisions, encouraging her to grow, trusting her judgments. I mean, on the same level as you
Why would I trust her judgments? That isn't me. No, I wouldn't trust her judgments.
What career field are you in? Conservative. Oh, you don't want to talk to me anymore. All right. My bad. I didn't mean to bully him.
This is where we at. This is where we are at. I mean, if you don't understand that we're full-fledged human beings, just like men are, if you don't accept us in with the level of autonomy that we can have, you don't want to evolve past what you understand. Me, man, she's woman. She has to be in the kitchen. She has to cook and clean. If you don't understand that beyond, you don't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I don't even understand where to go with that.
Let me read this before MO goes in. Ghost Rider with the 10 ball. The feminization and emasculation of men have hurt society, families, and the labor force. A lot of Gen Z can't change a tire, but you want them to protect and provide for a family? That's their daddy's fault. Welcome to the show. Marvelous opinion. Good day, sir. What is your thoughts?
I'm just gonna kind of catch up a little bit on the subject. Where we at right now, as far as the topic? What's the point of contention?
Right now, the point of contention is that men evolving sounds more like men moving like women to hood conservative. That's the issue that he's having right now. He believed that being manly means that you got to rule your house with an iron fist. And if you show, like, he don't understand that showing women grace, being what's the word back in the days they used to say when you be nice to women? What's that word?
You put a velvet glove around the iron fist, bro. That's how you do
it. What is it when you open up doors for ladies and stuff?
Chivalry.
Like that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Bill. See, do you see how beautiful women, they just have this beautiful vocabulary and they can just help you out so simple and easily, right? So yes, chivalry, he believed that man that's showing chivalry, that's being chivalrous, he is being more womanly because he's showing women grace. He's giving women some kind of deference. He's not whooping his kid's ass. He's actually speaking to his child, having a conversation, trying to find out what's wrong with a child. That is being more womanly.
You're actually stretching it a lot. You basically made it into like speaking all these words of affirmation bullshit. No. You keep stretching the definitions now.
I didn't stretch anything. Again, so I'm not sure. What is it that you're talking about that I'm stretching words? What word did I stretch? You don't think a man should nurture his family?
Well, we went through all of that, but that's generally the male role. But then you started talking about, you got to nurture her to be her greatest such and such. And I'm like, what does that even mean? That sounds weird, bro. No. And that's when you took issue. Now you're kind of making it about you trying to change the way it went.
Right. So it's something about a husband nurturing his wife for you sounds crazy, but you'd rather nurture another man, though.
You know they stroke men egos these days. They stroke them more than they stroke women. Shit.
Might not be the only thing they're stroking.
Hey, yo! Go ahead, Marvelous Opinion. That's where we at. That's the point of contention. Now you hear Hood Service point a little bit as well, and that's where we are having a disagreement at this point right now. He also believed, just to bring it back full circle, he also believed that women should not have the right to vote, and we should, and us as a society should take back that right from women. So those are the 2 points of contention right now.
Okay, give me a second. Come back to me later. I'm making some questions for him real quick. I think he just needed to be questioned.
We tried that. We tried that.
I know, that's why I said give me a second.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
If you throw it into Chat GPT and say, "Hey, I have this question," and it's just like a typical question you would ask an adult, and you say, "How would I ask this question to a 10-year-old or 8-year-old or something?" He's probably going to be more receptive. He'll understand the question a lot better. I'm going to try that next time I ask him a question if he wants to answer.
I noticed your feelings been hurt since you got here. There's nothing we can do for you, bro.
This sounds like there might be some confusion in the sense of him trying to explain himself, but explain where's he even coming from. Because I think he's dealing with certain things. He's trying to attack hypocrisy but not the argument you guys are presenting. There's something else that's going on in his head that he's pretty much arguing with and trying to present that as his case. And that's why it sounds crazy to us while he's talking. It's like, are you hearing what they're saying? He's hearing what he's clearly hearing you, but there's something else that is also going on with his point of view. I think it's
Well, bro, when I laid out the argument about how it works between men and women, he can only comprehend it in terms of black and white. And so until he gets off the black and white, we'll never be able to speak the same language. I said exactly what I think and why I think. If they don't get it, they don't get it.
I got Emo, try your question, and you gave a statement about how he might possibly think, but ask him some questions and see if maybe you could have a better understanding. Go ahead, Emo. I know you got him.
Well, I would just say, what are your feelings towards women in general?
I don't have feelings. What do you mean?
No, it's okay. What I mean is like, what is your attitude towards women in general? What do you normally feel when you're around women? Like, oh, typically she's like this or she's gonna be like this. What are your typical reactions and attitudes towards women?
Either attraction or repulsion.
Okay, so
his daughters, by the way.
Wait. Let's keep it there. What attracts you to women? What do you find attractive about a woman?
This is getting way off subject. You niggas are so weird, bro. I swear to God, everyone, you think y'all a therapist.
Marvelous.
Well,
He's just attracted to women for the basic things.
I'm trying to understand your mindset. You said you presented it to us, right? I'm only minding out your mindset so we can understand what you're saying. I'm not here to belittle you or anything like that, man. This ain't no therapy.
Well, listen to what I'm saying and then understand what I'm saying. I don't understand why that's a difficult thing. There are words, you hear them, and then you process them.
What you say is wild, because what you're saying is wild, man.
I get that. I know it's difficult to hear, but
or attractive?
Deal with that.
What about little girls? What do you mean repulsed or attracted?
He said women, bro. Stop being like that. Y'all niggas is fucking up yourselves and then blaming me.
Marvelous. To answer your point, he only thinks about women at the basic level, and that is just them having a coochie and being able to produce children. That is about it. Everything else he doesn't think women possess. He doesn't think women possess enough logic or reasoning or anything of that sort. Doesn't have good judgment on anything. Everything else has to be controlled by a man per se.
No, it's not that you don't have those other things. It's not that you don't have those other things. It's just that those aren't the primary things that make me make a decision or not. Like, I can't make decisions based on how you operate or how you move. I have to figure it out on my own.
All right,
so let me ask you a question. Do you trust women? Let's say if you had a wife.
No, you could have stopped right there. You could have stopped right there.
No, I mean, I assume that you don't trust women, right, in general. But I'm asking, if you had a wife and you had children, I mean, I know you have children now, but if you actually had a wife with your children, would you trust her judgment enough so your kids will be alive by the time you come home, that they're being fed, that they're being washed? Like, do you trust her in those aspects?
Amazing question.
Well, I mean, that's a base level assumption. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to trust that.
But how could you? If you
like, that's literally why you're here, though. That's literally why you're here.
No, that's
you
not why we're here.
Of wanting those base things, and now you present me with those base things.
Sorry,
and I'm like, yeah, I trust you to do that.
Sorry to bust your bubble. That's what you believe. Okay? That is not what women are here for. Okay? I'm just sorry. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's what you believe.
Why are you willing to do it? Why are you doing it if that's not why you're here?
Dude, that's just crazy. So wait a minute. So because we are capable of doing something, that means that that's automatically what somebody is supposed to do. You got men who are having sex with men, but you would make the argument that that's not supposed to fucking happen. People do things that they want to do. It doesn't have to always have to be this is what they're meant to do.
So you're saying that there is a natural order. Sometimes dudes break it, sometimes women break it. So you're breaking the natural order. Okay, bet.
So the natural order, you believe that the natural order is just for women to just produce children, and that's it, nothing else.
I didn't say nothing else, but let's start with that and see where we go from there.
No, we still flew past the autonomy question.
Because he's not going to answer that, HQ, because he don't believe women should have autonomy. This is how we actually started the whole conversation from the beginning. He doesn't believe that women should be working in corporations, military, in certain positions and stuff. Now, he did say on the low that I don't think that women should just be sitting at home. So he doesn't mind women working, but he doesn't want women to be getting paid for the work that they do.
I don't think like I said earlier, if it's just the type of job that pays enough to take care of a family, a man will start a family with that. You can't guarantee that the other way around.
That's not true. You cannot guarantee that either. There's a lot of men who make good money and they don't have no damn family. So you gotta stop. You gotta stop speaking in absolute. But the problem is, his conservative is that sometimes y'all blame women of speaking in absolutes when it comes down to us and our ideology and how we process things. But you do the same things too. You're assuming that every man would, if they had the same amount of income, they would just be this family man. They would just settle down and all this stuff like that. And that's not the case. We have proof that it happens on both sides. It doesn't work that way.
You would think
that's the main reason why men want to have money is to raise families, though.
No, men want to have money because they're competing with other men and they're stroking their fucking egos.
They're competing with other men to attract a woman so they can raise a family.
No,
that is the main reason why dudes want to have all the money.
It's not about a family. It's not about a family.
I promise you, it's mostly about that. It's mostly about that.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
No, look, once you remove that from the table, you get modern culture where a lot of these young dudes, they don't feel the need to get up and do anything now. Because, like, well, what are you going to promise me? You can't promise them nothing, so they won't do nothing.
Promise them what? First of all, number one, why do men need to be promised anything? Y'all don't fucking promise women a motherfucking thing.
And
women can literally have everything uprooted from them. So the same thing has to apply with men. You earn shit. You don't fucking get promises of shit.
And you asked what they meant by evolution. You're a perfect example. That you just said that men have to be promised to do something in life. They have to be told, oh, we'll give you this. Oh, we promise we'll give you this in return. It's all transactional. You have to be getting something in return, promise something in return. And women are saying, oh, we're not getting promised anything, but women are saying we're not getting promised anything. We're going to go out and do this to make ourselves better. You, on the other hand, are like, I'm not going to do anything to make myself better unless I'm promised something. And that's the
everything in life is a deal, bro.
That's part of the evolution we're talking about.
If you're not going to offer something good for the deal, then don't expect people to take your deal. I don't know why you're struggling with that.
This is wild. This is wild, right?
And the reason is people like to ask.
Can we agree that some people don't know how far their misogyny goes until you start pressing them with these questions and we go further into it?
I think you didn't know how far it goes. Nobody else is confused.
You know how far yours goes.
HQ, I truly believe that when the men say the things that they say, they mean it, right? And they understand how deep that rabbit hole goes. I am not going to be putting on, they don't know what they're doing. Hell no. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're saying. And they're saying it exactly the way they want to say it because they want you to understand this is how the fuck I felt. So we got to take people at face fucking values. And that's it. Like, we are not going to sugarcoat people and try to coax. Like, for me, for example, I used to do that. Coax my feelings of hearing something uncomfortable. Because I don't want to believe that this person think that way. No, that person think exactly the fuck the way they think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
A lot of these people aren't, I feel like I've said it before on here, but a lot of these people aren't successful and they want avenues to blame for why these external factors as to why they're not successful, why they weren't able to accomplish the things that, their mom wanted them to accomplish or their dad. Doubt he was raised with their father though. But, their dad or their mom or their grandma or whatever wanted them to accomplish the things that they said, hey, when I'm a grown up, I'm going to do these things. Conservative strikes me as one of the, he said he has kids, but he's not married and he doesn't really respect women. So odds are is that he has one, maybe multiple baby moms. They don't actually want him. They don't see him as, they tell him to evolve and then they go after a dude that is evolved and he kind of gets in his feelings about it. He doesn't see that he is the problem. He just is like, oh, they only went after that. He finds a reason that he isn't the problem. He says, oh, these other men are just feminine. I'm a masculine man and women don't want masculine men. They want feminine men. And you see that a lot with these dudes, like unaccomplished. They don't do anything in their life, but they want to blame a whole bunch of other factors.
It's wild. I don't understand. At this point, I don't know why the men that feel this way, why y'all not just telling the truth about yourself that you do not like women. You only, you need a sex worker. That's what you really need.
So the Secretary of Defense is the same guy you're talking about now? Because remember, this whole conversation started with him. You guys keep trying to make these crazy straw mans, bro. This is just how it is. You can build up all the straw men you want, but we're talking about the Secretary of Defense. We're not talking about me today. He's the one that said you don't need your voting rights.
Well, you said it too, so we are talking about you.
And that's what makes it scary. Somebody in a position of power, of political power, is out here preaching that he want to take rights from certain people and for them to be back in the house, take away their right to vote, and you need to be submitting to some goddamn husband. That is crazy and insane.
Well, hold on. So stop trying to just dismiss the argument because they're allegedly incels. That's you being lazy and you not wanting to grapple with what's really going on. It's not my fault.
We already addressed the. We've addressed that. We've been on here for however long we've been on here. We've been addressing the crust of the main argument. We're talking about you personally because you just.
I've been up here. I've been up here the whole time, bro. I was here. I've been here the whole time.
Exactly.
Like I said, I'm talking about the issue, and y'all are talking about me. That's kind of what's happening. I'm talking about the issue, and y'all are talking about me. That's the point. You don't want to actually talk about the issue because you're scared.
We're multifaceted, and we do both things.
Okay, so hold on. So, I'm gonna let you go right after HQ. So no, you don't understand that we talking about your ideology that you are representing because you are having the talking points that you agree with the sentiment of taking the women's right to vote, getting them back in the house. They shouldn't be going to work, and all these things. So we trying to get to your mindset and what's the logical sense behind this mindset, and we are not hearing it, and you are feeling bad to communicate what would be beneficial to women about taking their rights to vote and putting them back in the house and all these things. So that's what we're trying to have a
Well, why do you think the Secretary of Defense thinks that way?
Because he feels just like you and he doesn't have respect for women. That's why he has 3 divorces, because clearly he's gonna get a woman to say, he couldn't even get a woman to say none of submit to him.
Well, see,
so a woman being divorced is proof that she doesn't respect men. I don't think your logic holds up, bro.
No. Him cheating on his ex-wives, both of them,
that just means he really loves women.
Yeah, he can't stay loyal. It's crazy that someone that took an oath to defend the Constitution, like your word is supposed to be something, and you as supposedly a masculine man should also recognize this, that your word is supposed to be your word. When you say something, you're going to do it. So when you take an oath to somebody and you say, I'm going to cherish you, all the other bullshit, and I'm not, you say you're never going to cheat on them, you say these things, and then you turn around and do it, not once, not to one ex-wife, but to 2 ex-wives, and you get a 3rd wife pregnant while you're cheating on your 2nd ex-wife. That's, what part of, to me, that's, by your logic, that should be feminine, right? You're not holding your word like a man should. Is that not feminine to you?
AR, you know that certain individuals, they flip what their morality is to suit their benefit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. And I think that's just a human thing, really. Men and women both do that. They can do that. But that's what we're seeing right now. Like, you can literally point out someone doing, saying that I'm full of like loyalty and I hold oath and my word is my bond and all the stuff like that, and literally going against it when it suits his benefit, right? Yeah. But then we'll still go out there and preach that everybody needs to be, word is my bond and stick and be a man. And these are male attributes that men can't even fucking hold down.
Supposed men attributes.
Well, here's the thing. We we picked on you, or we focused on you simply because you had the same ideology and narrative that Pete was having. Okay. So we wanted to understand your line of thinking. We wanted to understand his line of thinking. And since you felt similar, we wanted to probe your mind a little bit to find out where would this natural conclusion of taking away women's rights lead us to? If that would take away, first of all, they already took away Roe versus Wade. Now they're taking away other things. Now they're going to take away other things. Where is this road leading us to? What conclusion are you saying, or we think Pete is saying, women would have at the end of this road? Where do you see it going? Because we don't see it going if we have the majority of women, or we have the majority of the sex on the planet. How do you get us women on that program too? Because you seem to think taking away the rights we're going to lead to that one show. I forgot the name of that show. What was the name of that show? Where they took away all the women's rights and that's all she was a breeder. I forgot the name of that show.
The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, The Handmaid's Tale. That's where you're sounding like you want us to lead, all the way back to there where we don't have any rights. We stick in the house, raise the kids, stay at home. We don't have a job. We don't do any of those things. Do you honestly believe that's the way it would lead us, that we would be down that path? And it seems as though you wouldn't mind us going down that path. So we're trying to probe your mind to find out why. Why would you want to take away our rights? You still have not expressed why we need to take our rights away. Don't tell us it's money. Don't tell us the bullshit. Why do you think their rights should be gone?
Yeah. And a lot of, he seems to see himself in Hegseth or something like that. And, he says, oh, Hegseth said it, he's Secretary of Defense, and you guys aren't talking about him. Again, I asked you if you were in the military, you said you never served. Hegseth has been downrange. So his perspective on why maybe women shouldn't be in combat roles is going to be different than yours. You're only talking secondhand knowledge at best. You're just yapping. So his perspective on it and why he might feel that way, some of us can't address because we never were downrange. We were never in the Marines. We were never in infantry. We were never doing these things where we were under fire or anything like that. So from that aspect, I'm not going to address it because I'm not downrange like that. I've talked to Marines and they have not the same exact thing, but they've also said things where it's like, and there's been studies done, women, these integrated roles, women being in them, men, there's underperformance. There's things where men feel like they need to protect the women. So they're doing certain things that they wouldn't do if it was all men, X, Y, and Z. So his perspective is different than yours. We're not addressing his perspective because his perspective is his perspective based off of his experiences. Yours is based off of some goofy shit that you can personally address while you're here.
Right. Perfect. And that is a very good explanation because you are here and you have the perspective. That's why we are probing you, not necessarily you, but your ideology. Shout out to the Cash App. Thank you so much for the love and the support. I appreciate you so much. Welcome to the show, The Real Prism. Good day, beautiful. How are you doing today?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Yeah, I just had the same question as Miss HQ because I want to know at the end of the day, where does he think this is going to lead women, this whole thing of not being able to vote and the ignorance that the 19th Amendment led into the voting rights, I believe, of 1965. That's a civil right for women to vote. So I don't know how he's not thinking that those things are not somehow connected one to another. And also, I've been listening in the clouds and, MJ, she's just a very intelligent and bright woman. And I like hearing a lot of her commentary. But you're not going to get a straight answer from him because honestly, he doesn't even really know what conservatism is. What he's talking about, the things that he's talking about is what they call white nationalism. It's not conservatism. And I just, to hear people, especially African-American men, come in with this white nationalism conversation is probably equivalent to you sitting around and watching Black women and Black men getting lynched. It's a sickness in you. It's some sort of sickness in you. And this is I'm not a pro-Black, but there's something sick about you to think about the fact that taking away women's right, like, what do you think at the end day? What's the end game that you think is going to happen? Do you think that somebody's just going to marry you? Do you think that you're just going to be this appealing that women are not going to have any options? Do you not know there's an option to leave the United States of America? So what's the end game, hood-servative? Because you're not a conservative, so go ahead.
Well, those are all very pointed, personal, sharp questions. And didn't I say earlier how, for some reason, when we keep having these conversations,
you sound like a female, bro.
When we keep having these conversations, you keep doing that thing about racism. For some reason, it's always be scared of the racism thing. Is this weird how this is always going back to racism with you guys?
Can you answer that one question? Miss Heathen Queen, she's an elder. I just want to know, what do you think is the end game to taking away the rights of women for voting? I want that answer simple and plain. ABC. Just answer the question. I don't want to hear nothing about black, white,
more marriages and a stronger middle class.
What makes you think that you're going to get a marriage out of a woman because she can't vote?
Why do you think it's about me personally, though? You keep trying to make this about me. I'm not selfish enough to just argue for my own need. This is not about me. I'm technically moving out of that part of my life anyway, so it doesn't matter, does it?
The problem with you is that you like to make all of these brash type of statements. You don't want to give any type of no type of qualifiers or why you made the statement. My question to you is, what makes you think, because you made the statement that if women take their votes, it's going to make stronger marriages and family? What makes you think that just because a woman can't vote, she's going to marry somebody?
That's what he's hoping for, because that's the only way he's going to get a wife. He's honestly, they're not dependent on him. The only people dependent are his kids, unfortunately.
Let him answer.
Honestly, since your only voting concern as a group, as women, is abortion, it would literally translate to more babies and more families.
Oh, now we getting there. We getting there.
What else is their primary voting concern outside of that? If it wasn't for that, what else would they be doing? I guarantee you it is. They're not out here trying to lower taxes. You don't give a shit about the border. None of y'all vote for none of that stuff. All you want to do is kill your babies and be lesbians. That's all y'all want to do is kill your babies and be lesbians, bro. Let's keep it a stop. That's the whole reason for your voting, so you can kill your own babies and go fuck coochies.
You're terribly misinformed. You're terribly misinformed, and there's a lot of projection, and I guarantee you there's a lot of men who don't care about that shit either. And if you're talking about producing more children, let me ask you a question.
Y'all call me a liar. What's the number one female voting issue? What's the number one voting? What's y'all number one issue?
Listen, hood conservative. Let me ask you a question. Since you saying that your more concern is producing more children, right? You're concerned about the population going down. Then why, when it comes down to our community, Black community, why have I not seen any advocacy for men going to the hospital worrying about Black women's pregnancies and dying while they're going to go get birth? We had it 3 times. Listen, we die from childbirth 3 times more than any other race. And it's not because of our bodies and how our bodies is made. It's because of racially biased medical system that has been happening for centuries. There has not been one advocacy that I heard from men saying, why are our women who are willing to give birth to our children, why are our women dying and why are our children not making it? So until I see a bigger advocacy about that, I don't want to hear about children.
Don't fall into his trap.
Y'all abort more babies than y'all miscarry. Like, what else do y'all vote for but smoking your own packs, bro? That's literally what y'all vote for, is to smoke your own pack, and then you act like we're not supposed to notice. That's the only thing that really matters to y'all.
Okay, hold on. Hood Server, answer the question though. Like that's a nice point that you want to you can address that point later. But
it's a non sequitur. The amount of women who lose a baby in a medical mishap compared to the amount of women who have their own offspring terminated is minuscule. It almost don't even matter. You're trying to bring that up to gain sympathy because you keep
It's
voting
not
to
as
get your womb sucked
minuscule
out.
as you think it
No,
is. It's
no,
not
that's
as
what y'all do
minuscule
with
as
y'all
you think it
vote.
is.
That's
And
what
on
y'all do
top
with
of
y'all
that,
vote. So how about this? How
with
about
the
this? How come you
abortion
don't vote to
rights
change
being
that?
changed, the abortion
Why
rights
don't y'all
being
vote to fix
changed,
that?
that is no longer a
Because
problem
that's not a
anymore. But
civil or
guess what?
political right. You
Why don't
Black
y'all
women
why
are
don't y'all
still
vote to do
dying
something
at
about that?
childbirth at 3 times higher than any other race.
Abortion
So
isn't
what
a
now?
political right.
Hold on,
Abortion isn't a
just
political
to be
thing.
clear
That's a
here,
medical thing.
it's just to be clear here. Abortion is a personal right.
It's not a
Just to be
political
clear
thing. It's
here,
a medical thing.
he complained about being pushed. Women being pushed to be in positions of power and things like that, i.e., something that would help fix the issues that MJ is talking, or potentially help fix those issues that MJ is talking about. And you're saying, why don't you vote for that? As you talk about how you want women to have their vote stripped from them.
And
You better use it while you got it. Nigga, what the fuck?
as he
Use that
broke
shit before
over
you lose it.
about the
You have an issue with them
advocacy
using it,
of
and
the
that's why you
same
want to take
men
it. So what are you talking about?
pushing children, pushing more children. It's ridiculous. This is why, like I said, it's his opinion. It is what it is, but it's ridiculous. You're advocating for more children, but guess what? You got our kids dying. You got your wives, your girlfriends, your baby mamas dying to have your fucking kids, and you have no advocacy of it. You know, there's
They
been
dying
talks
because they
and
fat.
talks and talks by
They have complications because they're obese, mom.
the same women that you say don't advocate for anything else but to get the fucking abortion pill is the same woman that's bringing up the fact that they're dying on the goddamn fucking table in the fucking medical field. This is just like, it's ridiculous.
No, the same argument we can make for you not letting women or wanting women to vote could be the same argument I can make with men who don't vote against the interest of somebody who has a gun, and you don't want to protect our children in the schools, but you'll vote for the candidates that will leave gun advocacy on the table, but we never get any kind of gun legislation.
I don't even know what that means, bro.
I could say you could be one of those people that we shouldn't allow to vote because you need that kind of thing on the table.
My entire point was that women's main issue, the one thing they do with their vote is kill their babies. That's what they vote for.
33% of the 34%.
Am I wrong though? Am I wrong? Have any of you proven me wrong about that? What is the evidence? So what's the number one issue? If that's not their number one issue, what is? What is their number one issue? What is their number one issue?
It doesn't matter.
Their main interest was in 34% of the women that voted in the 24 election. Their main concern of most women was the rising inflation and healthcare costs and all those different things. You know something, his service. I just think you just like to try to say stuff because you think you're trying to fit into this little red pill thing going on and stuff. You don't really. I'm gonna be honest with you. You don't really have anything to add to this conversation. I'm gonna be honest with you because you don't like to answer questions. You got intelligent men on the panel.
You just don't like the answers, though. Those aren't answers. You don't care for them.
The problem is you think that women not voting is going to produce marriages and family. The fact that you think that that's going to happen is absolutely stupid.
We had a higher birth rate before women were in the workforce.
Sir, the birth rates fell even during World War II. The birth rates seem to fluctuate back and forth depending on what's going on with wartime, with inflation, and all those different things. You really don't know what you're talking about.
No, when the men came home, a lot of the women, most women actually got married and went back home. Some women stayed in the workforce. But the men came home, they got married and had children. So after the war, it was literally the baby boom. It was literally a baby boom. So when the women actually started.
Conservative, where is your statistic? No, hold on.
Well, it's called a baby boom for a reason. It's called a baby boom for a reason. I don't need a statistic for a well-known phenomenon called baby boomers.
Where is your statistic about women only caring about where their main issue being abortion when Prism just brought up the statistic, 34% cared about these other things?
34% isn't the majority. 34% is the minority. What's the other 70-some% care about?
And the other thing I was going to bring up is if their number one issue was that, you wouldn't see abortion passing in a lot of these states, abortion laws passing in a lot of these states because the women vote there as well. And you can look at the statistics there, and see what where the women voted and what the majority of them felt like. You keep on talking about women as if they're a monolith. There's plenty of right-wing, conservative, theological women that also agree with your talking points. There's actually a pretty
now
big
he's
amount of
speaking
them.
on behalf of right-wing conservative women. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm not talking on behalf of them. I'm talking about that they exist. That's all I'm saying, is that they exist. I'm not saying anything other than that they exist, and there's some that consider the same things that you're saying. That's just a fact. I don't personally think that all women are a monolith. I don't think they all think the same way. I don't think that they all vote for abortion. As a matter of fact, I know they don't.
Remember, he doesn't believe that women have autonomy, so of course he doesn't think that.
They do.
Right. So of course he doesn't think that we would have different of opinions or what we agree with or what we don't agree with. Right. But here's the thing, to go back to the real prism, sis, with hood conservative. Yes, he probably do believe that there will be more marriages and more childbirth due to women being destitute and having to pretty much survive off of being linked to a man. This is what he believes. But there's one thing that he's leaving out. It's natural selection. And natural selection is going to happen even more aggressively now, more than ever, than it did before back in the day. Women are not just going to just link up with any old kind of man. And the funny thing about it is society has proved that natural selection has always been a part of society. At one point, if you wasn't a man who didn't have means or a certain amount of resources, you couldn't even get a wife.
Yeah, so that's the thing, MJ. This is how he thinks. Let's just say there's 50% men, 50% women in a country. He thinks that you take women out of the ability to vote, you take away their right to work in all jobs, and they can only work in certain specific jobs. That opens up jobs for him because he can't get them competitively. He's not competitive. If he goes into the labor market, he's in the labor market. He can't get promotions. He can't go into a different industry because he's just not competitive.
What about the rest of the guys? I know you keep saying that about me, but what about everybody else, bro?
If there's 50%, 50%, one woman, one man. Therefore, he's almost guaranteed a partner. Somebody's going to be desperate enough or reliant enough to take him as a partner. That's not where he's at in life right now. So that's why he wants certain things to change so he can better. He doesn't want to better himself. He wants other things to change.
Let's assume that's the case. Is it better for that to be the setup, or should they all marry the government?
What'd you say?
Is it better for them to be stuck in some regular marriage with some guy, or should they all be married to the government like they are now?
I think it should be their choice.
What do you mean a regular guy?
Why? Listen, you either marry a regular guy who's not the dreamboat, who isn't perfect, or you marry the government.
But there's,
wait a minute. Hold on. Let me say something, Eric. Let me. I like this kind of stuff right here. What do you mean a regular guy?
I mean, it's a guy who is not perfect, of course, but I don't understand who the fuck he's talking about. Like, regular guys exist in this. Hold on. Let me clear it up. If he is saying all this crazy, because he's trying to take a shot at me, but in general, if you're gonna have women, if you're gonna move women out of the workforce. If you're going to move women out of the workforce, that means a lot of more just average regular guys are going to get those jobs. So that means you either marry one of those guys or you have to marry the government, right? Isn't that the deal? You have
things the same, and it's not the same. The voting rights for women and women being in the workforce are not the same thing.
They are connected, yeah.
No, they're not.
Of course they're connected.
Tell me how they're connected, because you don't even think. Because let me tell you something. Your intelligence level is that civil rights and voting rights are not the same thing. So I want to hear this logic.
Well, wouldn't you vote for anything that benefits you?
Earlier, he did say that he didn't believe that women. He didn't believe that women shouldn't have jobs, but now he's saying that voting and having jobs is connected.
Wouldn't you vote for anything that benefits you? So if there was a policy in place to hire women over men, wouldn't you vote for that?
No,
I'm asking the woman. I know you sound interested, but I was asking the woman, bro. It's not about you. Wait a minute.
Whoa, did you assume my gender?
Sir,
I don't think you assumed your gender.
Hold on, Ariel. Let me say this. Most majority of women marry regular men. What are you talking about?
Or they marry the government. And more women are marrying the government than they are marrying regular men.
Again,
No, let's stay right there.
He has a baby mom. He has a baby mom. He
people
thinks he's
are
a regular
regular.
man, even though he's below a regular man.
Most people
And
are
she
regular,
went with
though.
the government in his eyes.
Most people are regular.
So people are married to Trump. Like people are married to this Trump government. Let me tell you how your logic is so weird to me. Look, no woman is married to the government, sir. Women, 99% of the time, women are married to normal men. You're going to marry a guy who you think is attractive. You think he's really a good fit. Your family likes him. Your dad likes him. Your mom likes him. You get along with everybody. He works a normal job. You make money together. You grow up together, whatever the little scenario is. Majority of the guys are normal, got faults, got failures, just like women do. What are you talking about? My parents have been married for over 40 years.
Or you can marry the government, because most black women aren't married to a regular guy. They're just not married.
Is that you're online too much? And it's obvious that you're online too much because your whole conversation is about how you think you're going to one up this little gender war thing. And let me tell you something. The gender war only exists in your minds. Because men and women are still getting married. There are people getting married even this weekend. They got married this weekend. They're going to get married next weekend. People are going to still have babies. Now, the birth rates are probably not going to be the same ever again because this is the first time in history that the replenishment rate, even if there was a strong replenishment rate, there's never going to be a way that they're going to be able to replenish the amount of children that should have been born in this time to make a little worker bee class. It's not going to happen ever again in this lifetime.
Well, women are spending those years in school and at work. So
conversation has created, which is why when I came into this sector, I kind of try to make sense of telling you people that your conversations are hurting everyday people on the outside. So now you've gotten what you deserve. You're not going to get the replenishment rates of any children being born in America. The Black community is going to continue to shrink down even further. The people who were really the people giving births, they are now the immigrants that are getting pushed out of the country. So what do you think is going to replenish those rates? Do you think that there's some government? Do you think that Trump in the next 4 years, that he's evidently going to make some sort of policy that's going to make somebody want to marry you? That wash your dirty drawers, to clean your house without loving you, without having no respect for you. Because one thing about submission, because I watched my mother with my father, one of the things about submission that you guys keep on taking out of it is that it's called love. My mother does things for my father because she loves and respects him, not because he makes her, but because of the way he treats her. See, that's your problem. You're not getting any of that love and respect because you don't carry anything for women to love and respect. And I can tell that you don't by the way that you're talking to these men and women on the panel. So please stop bringing in biblical conversations when you don't really even know anything about the Bible. Because number two, the Bible says that if you're not married, don't seek it. Don't look for it. And that's a man and a woman. So this whole conversation about this whole thing about women's voting rights and women coming home, women coming back to the table, women cooking meals. I have to go to Chick-fil-A every night and get a chicken sandwich. Oh my God. But over there across the street, Tyrone is over there with a big bag and she cooking collard greens and fried chicken and some ham. And I don't understand it that she's not supposed to be the woman that has a man. So I'm trying to ask you a question. What makes you think you're qualified as a person who thinks you're a conservative? What makes you think that you're the right to have those conservative women to be able to even join and partner with you when you're not talking like a conservative man? You're talking like an ignorant man. Sorry.
Evolving. Where's the evolution? We don't see it.
It's called cosplaying, really. And I think, like I said, tell you the truth, some men and women, a lot of men and women, especially today, are cosplaying who they really are and what they really want and how to go about getting what they say they really want. That's all that is. Like I'm used to this now. I'm definitely used to this
because
now.
It takes two healthy people in order to be to have a healthy marriage where it's producing healthy children. You have to have a healthy man and a healthy woman. Their mindsets, their emotions, their the way they have communication one to another. That thing is grown in getting to know one another. But this whole utopia idea that men and women are just going to come together. Let me take away all the women's rights in America and see what she has to do. Well, I'm one of those Black women that have this mindset, because I was in the military, that I don't have to live here. I've lived amongst the people overseas, and I know that I can stay there because I can have my freedom to walk and eat the food that's not tainted with Monsanto. I don't have to be worried about whether some guy is going to touch me in the middle of the street. I don't have to worry about if I want to have a baby, I don't have to worry about some dude coming up in there who got some problem with some woman or some family member and they come and shoot my kids.
You know what's so funny about that, sis? Is that men can't even control other men for the type of society that they want to play out. That's the crazy part. They tell men that every man is their own kingdom, even when they're in a society. Well, if you're a part of a society, you can't have your own fucking kingdom because everybody's supposed to be ruled under one thumb, right? So the society that they claim that they want, they cannot even get. They can't even get because they won't do what they need to do to check other men to be on the line. They're giving them backhanded advice saying, well, you can change it and switch it and maneuver it the way that you want to because you're a man. So you don't really have to necessarily follow the society rules and guidelines. And this is why we have situations where we have laws where you're not supposed to do A, B, C, and D. And then men violate those laws and then they get a pat on their back or they get not even really good consequences, and they right back to doing exactly what they want to do. It will never be safe the way that you want to or how it is in other countries, because even with other countries, when they rule with the iron fist, they rule with their religion, right? And those men are willing to abide by that religion. So that's why those women don't get the same type of effects that we do. Because those men are making the conscious decision to follow it to the fucking T. And they have consequences if they don't do it. Here, they want men to run a fucking muck. They can do whatever the fuck they want. So then now when something happens, or something happens to a young girl or a woman or whatever now on the street, your wife, your sister, your mother, they take easy on him. They want to handle him with fucking kid gloves. Everything's okay. He's changeable. He can be fixed. He can be rehabilitated. This is what the fuck they say. And the pattern continues to go on and on and on. So the structure that they're requesting is not going to happen because they're not willing to sacrifice the quote unquote freedom to live in the actual society that they say that they want.
And here's the thing. Here's the mindset. Hold on a minute. Here's the thing. The mindset. The problem is they get stuck in this mindset where women are the villain of all the ills and ilks that go on in their world. This mindset is okay for one or two people or a subset of people, just like that racism is a subset of people. We cannot allow this mindset to overtake the whole society because the whole society doesn't feel that way. When I said evolving, I meant getting past this mindset of it's all the women's fault. If we would have went deeper, he probably would have said some crazy shit like feminist movement, or he probably would have said something just wild and outrageous. And it's like, look, you cannot be preaching that kind of stuff on the internet and not really fleshing these ideas out. Because as soon as we pushed him, he said, what did he say? Pregnant, A, B, and babies, getting rid of babies. And I was like, what? Wait, whoa. He first came on and he said money. Did he not say something about money? Women vote against money or whatever. Then it got down to you guys like to A, B, your babies. Where the hell do we get that? See, you got to unravel all that. All that need to be unpacked. I'm not saying this is not good for his own philosophy, with his own house. But you cannot be trying to make those kind of decisions for the bulk of us women. We cannot have men like Pete making those decisions, or being in power making those kind of decisions against women. Because we all are born on this planet. We all should have full rights and all of the things that go along with being a human in this, or being a citizen of this country. And for people to run around talking about, oh, you should get rid of your rights because you guys have ABs. What? Wait, what? That's wild to me.
Yeah, and the thing that he said about the military, like, I don't know if everybody knows, like, what is his thought? Like, I can't take anybody serious who doesn't even take an oath to protect and serve anyway, in any capacity. I just can't take them seriously. Number two, like, he didn't want to talk about, what about that young man that is not much younger than I am, that went into his I guess his platoon and started shooting up those people this week. You don't talk about, let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about mental health. And there was 2 women there, but you know who the black guy was, the one who subdued him. You don't really think about stuff like this, sir. You really don't. You just sit around, you just make up all this little stuff in your mind and stuff where you think that, the one way we can stop women is to take away all of their rights. Me working or some other woman working and her not having a right to vote, that's not going to happen here in America. You guys can think about it any way you want to. And the day that it does come, I hope every Black woman in America has their passport, because there are other places that have a lot more freedom for you. There just is. I'm sick and tired of these conversations and stuff. You don't want to do anything we don't want to talk about Black rights. You know why? Because that's the talking points. Black fatigue and all that stuff came from the Black angry syndrome. You sit there and you attach yourself. That whole idea came from people to making Black people shut up about their rights. That whole conversation came from the Black anger syndrome. I don't even know where you people come from, like where your education comes from. A lot of you hood conservative, like just the fact that you have the nerve to call yourself a hood conservative, it's just strange to me. You're not a conservative man. You're not conservative.
I don't know why this makes everybody so upset.
Conservative man, you're not even involved in anything about legislation. You're not a conservative man. You're not married. You have children outside of your marriage. You are not a conservative man.
I think you're yelling at me because you can't yell at that white man who wants to take your rights away.
Yeah, someone in the chat
Pete
called you.
Hegseth wants to take your rights away. You want to yell at him, not me.
You just said that you wanted to do it. So what are you talking about? Anyway, someone called it in the chat that you were going to talk about her yelling or something instead of actually addressing anything.
I'm just telling
the reason why people, the reason people get annoyed or upset or whatever, emotional, whatever word you want to use about some of the things you say or portray or your name is, and as a man, I would think that you would know this, since you like to talk about how much you're a man or how masculine you are, how other things are feminine or whatever. As again, I said it before, your word is supposed to be your word. And so if you're portraying like fraudster Willie, he used to be on here all the time talking, with Wall Street Willie as his name, talking about, he was so educated about Wall Street or whatever. He never spoke on it though. That was just his name. He portrayed himself as something he wasn't. And you do the same thing, which is why she's saying you're not an actual conservative, and why she's annoyed about it is part of the same reason, is that you're portraying yourself as someone you're not. You're a fraud. And people just generally don't like frauds. And let
the liberals tell me what a conservative is. That's a good way to move, right?
Liberal, I'm conservative.
Yes, you are. You are. Just a little. You don't even know how woke you are, bro.
I agree that Roe v. Wade was decided rightly, that it should be back with the states. I actually think it should be lower. I think it should be on the personal level, but I'll take what I can get right now, and that's the states. I'm not pro-trans in the
military. Making it a personal level is why you're a woke liberal. I know. I already read you.
Okay. So that's cool. Yeah. So I have different views. I just am able to explain them better and have a defense. I don't regurgitate shit that I've heard Pete Hegseth say or something, or some other weirdo say. You don't research anything. You just hear it on Fox News, or you hear Hegseth say, or you see a headline and you regurgitate it, and you don't have any foundation to actually argue on, which is why you talk about emotion, talk about yelling, talk about all these other things. You're a fraud though. Hood conservative is just a name for you. You couldn't say, like, growing up, being a conservative meant you were really pro-constitution, you were pro-intervention, pro-free market, pro personal rights or equal rights, or not equal rights, personal rights and things like that. That's what it was. That's what I remember conservative meaning growing up. And you don't embody any of that. You have not said one thing that is conservative.
Hey, AR, I have a question for you, hood conservative. Here's something really easy for you to answer. What is a conservative man? What is a definition of a conservative man?
Hood conservative, that was towards you. Can you answer the question, hood conservative? I guess maybe he's away real quick.
Welcome to prove my point. Have a nice day. Have a nice
day. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show, Skis. It's yours. Good day, sir. What would you like to add to the conversation? You're on mute, by the way, Mr. Alignment.
Guess nobody want to talk today.
He's just probably having some technical difficulties. That's all.
Yeah, I guess so.
Has he been on here before? What's he gonna say? We can probably predict. If it's
I'm not sure. Mr. Alignment, you there? Maybe you got a phone call or something like that. I think it's a.
Conservative need to be worried about his Wi-Fi. He over here worried about women voting as if they're the reason his Wi-Fi sucks. The man need to go get a different plan with whoever. Even if he has to hotspot his phone at this point, this is insane.
But it's very interesting that he's trying to blame everybody else for not trying to have a conversation, and the first thing he do is talk about what somebody is saying, right? He's like, you just get emotional, but talk about the point. It doesn't matter if the person is emotional or not. Let's just have the conversation about the topic. It's okay. So Hood Server, they wanted to know what is
hold on. Isn't that what they've been doing about me the whole time? They're not talking about the point. They're just talking about me.
No, they have talked about your point. I keep on talking about you because I think you're slow. And I like to bully slow people sometimes. It makes me feel better about myself.
I get that about you.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody else has been addressing you. They're going with the routine and acting like you're some individual.
You've been really fascinated with me this whole time. You think we're on a date or something?
You were on here. You're the only one going against it. So yeah, I'm gonna be if Skis or whatever, if he unmutes and he's on the same shit that you're on, then I'm gonna be talking to him the same way I'm talking to you, most likely, unless he's actually intelligent. But yeah, you're the one person on the panel that's against women voting. So yeah, the attention is going to be on you.
So believing what we've all believed for the last 1,000 years makes me
Who's we all? Who's we all? I don't understand who we all is.
Everybody in the world. This is like literally the way the world has worked for 1,000 years, and now all of a sudden,
everybody everywhere in the world believe that women shouldn't have a say in the political arena.
Up until very recently, yeah.
To define very recently.
Like 1970 or something.
Okay, 1970s. Okay, so in the 1800s, women's suffrage was already a movement. And
where? In one country, and like and then it spread to America.
You just said we all want everybody. You just said everybody.
So that's not the majority, though. That's like a bunch of upper middle class women in a couple of rich countries.
You have a degree in world history based off of world cultures or something?
You do as well? That's crazy. I didn't see you in school next to me. I didn't even see you in class next to me. That's crazy.
Can you tell us about what culture in Africa, any African state that or tribe or anything that existed, which of them was the first one to talk about women's suffrage and when they did it?
I don't know. When did they start voting?
So the reason I asked is because you keep on saying everybody everywhere in the world believe this thing. But I would expect you to be able to talk about everybody or different individual countries or tribes in the world. That way you could substantiate what you're saying.
Oh, you tell me when they brought democracy to Africa, then, since you're so smart, you know everything.
Women being in the political arena doesn't mean democracy. It's not equivalent to democracy.
No, voting and democracy are the same thing. So when did they start doing that in Africa? Since you're so smart, you know everything.
I didn't say anything about. We're talking about women in the political arena for one. You're unmuted.
And you mentioned Africa, and so I'm asking, when did they start doing that in Africa?
I'm bringing it up because you said everybody in every world. Sharon,
okay then. So Africa has nothing to do with this, right? Because there was only a minority of people in two countries, right? Africa has nothing to do with any of that, right?
What did you ask? Sorry. Africa. You said something about minority in two countries, and Africa has nothing to do with that. What did you say?
Never mind. He can't keep up. Somebody else talk.
Okay.
So if I'm catching this whole conversation, all right, this whole thing, from what it looks like from his point of view, is about broken families for the most part.
No, don't. That's not what it's about. It's about him.
I'm hearing the theme I'm hearing is going back to the household, going back to building the community. He thinks that taking away the rights of women is going to somehow build the community.
Sir, he has kids out of wedlock. He's not even with the woman he has kids with. It's not about that time.
You're still in my thunder. I was trying to get there.
Oh, my bad.
Well, hold on. There's an entire culture that thinks this way, though. There's a whole culture that thinks exactly like that, though. So it's not like one guy disproved the old argument.
So it's one culture.
You're talking about the Secretary of Defense, bro. You're talking about the Secretary of Defense. That's kind of why
we're talking about you. Men don't talk about other men when they're not in the same room to defend themselves, which is why we're not talking about Pete. We're talking about you because you're here to defend yourself. Stop calling Daddy Pete's name. He's not coming to save you.
Isn't he the actual title of the show?
It doesn't matter who's the we're talking to you though. You're here to defend.
He's literally in the title of the show.
But we're talking to you.
That's kind of the point. He's kind of in the title, so it's not about me. You can only make it. You want to use me to kind of like weaken the argument, but I'm not the only guy. It's not just me, bro.
We don't know Pete's rationale, so we cannot address his perspective on it. We can only address the people that come up on the panel and talk about why they think the way they think, which is why we're not really talking about Pete specifically, because we can't say, oh, Pete's wrong to think. For example, and I brought it up, and maybe your connection was messed up because it seems to be a common thing with you. Pete has been downrange. He has been in combat roles potentially. He has engaged with those people. His perspective on things is different than someone like mine or yours or whoever else is who hasn't been downrange. So for me to address him on that doesn't really make sense because I don't have that perspective that he has. But you are on here, and we can talk to you.
That doesn't make any sense, bro. That's a punk out
I'll
move.
say this, AR.
That's some cowardly shit. Oh, so he saw something. I can't say nothing. So all of a sudden, you have no opinions.
I'm just going to be like, he's wrong. He's wrong. His perspective. The point being is that you guys can have the same conclusion, and the reason, the stream of how you got there can be completely different. And so I can't.
So I have to be downrange to think it's a bad idea. I can only think it's a bad idea once I get downrange, even though women haven't been downrange for the majority of military history.
Slower so that you can understand potentially.
Well, AR, here's my thing. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say this real quick. To the point of Pete. So I can take the only reason why I would take his viewing into consideration because he has been downrange and he has been in combat zones, and he probably do realize or have seen other male military members focus on, I guess, shielding the woman instead of being more active into the fight, right? So I would take that into consideration, even if I don't agree with him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's coming with lived experience, seeing it actually from his own eyes, and probably there is some stats about that happening, right? So that's why. But yeah, when you hear from an individual who has an opinion, I just take it as an opinion, and and I just leave it there from that.
And to be clear, both things can be true. Pete can be correct about, or people can be correct about men. Excuse me, 1 second. Men acting a certain way when it's an integrated unit. But to our point, Israel, the Kurds, other countries, other nation states, other areas have all women units. So you can say, oh, men act a certain way. It actually brings the proficiency or efficiency or whatever down. It causes more injuries, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, if there's enough women that can pass the same standard as the men, they can be in their own unit. And men can be in there. You don't have to integrate combat units necessarily. And so you can have that and you can still have the efficiency. You can still do certain things. And you don't have to exclude women just because they're women.
Great point. Let me read this super chat with the 10 ball. Ghost Rider. The only way Roe will come back is that it becomes gender neutral, allowing men to be able to opt out of parenthood too. Roe v. all. According to Roe, consenting to sex is not consenting to parenthood. Yikes.
It has nothing to do with Roe v. Wade.
I mean, shout out to Young Samurai with the 999. Says, in my opinion, only women in marriage should have the right to vote. And I'm against women who not in I'm against women who not in marriage or has baby out of woodblock should vote, and the same energy goes for the man as well. So hood assertive, according to Young Samurai, your ass don't get to vote neither because you got children out of woodblock.
Yeah, there's definitely other segments, subgroups we could say. Why should poor people be able to vote? Oh, if you don't pay tax or if you don't work at all, why should you be able to vote? There's others. Segments of the population.
You don't own no property. You should.
Yeah, that's how it used to be. Why not go back then? I
kind of support that.
Okay, that's fine. You're broke, so I'm fine with you not voting. The Constitution, would a document like the Constitution that can stand the test of time and be so universal, could that get through today? Probably not. there's a lot of people, there's a lot more voices and whatever. But in reality, when the Constitution was the Federal Convention, when it started, it was there was like 55 people there, and it was there was no news about it. You couldn't publish anything about it. It wasn't until like September 16th or 17th that the first draft of the Constitution actually was released to the public and started being printed in the newspaper. So before that, it was all private conversations. Nothing was being said to other people. But I mean, there was maybe some private, letters to from James Madison to Thomas Jefferson or something. But generally speaking, it wasn't all the people thing. And then the state conventions happened, obviously, after that. And the people that were able to vote in those states could vote on who could go to the state convention and decide on the Constitution and whatever. But why is that not better than right now? I don't understand.
I just think that with all the conversation that we was hearing right now, it just seems that the hood conservative, he's advocating for the men who don't want more responsibility, don't want leadership roles and anything of that sort. I think he believes that he's advocating for men to, I guess, open up the room for men who wants those responsibilities to take it. But truly, he's advocating for those men not to do it. And because of the simple fact is, if you just broke it down to what if only certain individuals, right? Certain groups, if you don't fit this list of qualifications, then you can't vote on things that matter for you. If we go all the way back to that, then that's removing more responsibility of one's life and what is going on in their household. So you want government to get out of your household so you could be able to do what you want to do, but actually you're advocating for the government to be in full range about what's going on in your household, even to the point of who you marry, right? Because I want to hold on, I'm not done. Let me just get this little bit out, and y'all have the floor. To my point about the natural selection, a lot of people only believe that I was only talking about men. No. Natural selection is also with women, right? Because back then, if you couldn't get married, you know what the women had to do? They had to work. They were governesses. They were school teachers. They were maids and stuff like that. If they could not find a man to marry, they had to work. So you want to get to the point where men now have to marry a woman that they don't want, that is of not their children, just because we have to keep the population of women not being destitute and going hungry and homeless. We don't want to see a country like that, where the women is like that. I don't think any government will want to see that, because it's a sign about how good the government is when women are in that type of situation, women and children, right? So that's my point. I'll land it from there.
There's also a direct correlation between women's rights and the impoverished, or the HDI, or the Human Development Index and stuff like that of a country. Countries that women have rights, that they have autonomy, that they have these things, they're able to enter the workforce and stuff, they're better countries overall. Every country that conservative could point to today where women don't have those rights is worse than the Western countries that allow those rights. So in effect, he wants to go back to those countries. He wants the country to look more like that. It doesn't make sense. I'm
sorry, I just came up to say one thing. Why is it people are in such a twist or bunch about the AB situation? I get it. It's a religious thing and people think it's a baby and maybe it's not a baby or whatever. But why is it such a twist on people's thinking?
It's not a baby. What is it?
It's a bunch. It's a clump of cells to me.
Cells belonging to what organism? Cells don't just flow
until the child becomes sick. It's a clump of cells to me. Okay.
I was going to say, honestly, I
cells belonging to what?
In this whole argument, this whole debate, it comes down to values and expression. Right now, you're about to go into a whole thing about life and where does it start and how you see it expressed. Y'all hold more on the expression more than what the actual thing it is life. Now, we can't even agree on values, which is the life itself. Then that's the point. That's really our problem. Our real problem in our country is we have mixed values, some that overlap, but some that contradict. I honestly don't know how society got as far as it did with having everyone going their own way individually. That's what it really is, to be free to do what you want to do what thy will. But then it comes down to the majority rules. And then that becomes unfair to the individual, because it's like, well, I don't want to live like how they live. And this is where we are right now, this whole thing. When y'all talk about politics, I see it play out every damn time. It's our values. I don't mind having different expressions. That's cool. But we can't even agree to what it is we actually value in a society.
I value the
That's fine.
choice.
You want that in a society.
It's 70% of people think it should be a choice to have an AB. Why are we having a discussion about AB if it's 70%, over 70% that believe we should have a choice?
Because as like I said, it's the individual, again, the small group
so
that does not believe.
I should have the right to do it if I want to, and you should have the right to not do it if you don't want to.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm trying to tell you what the point of contention why it comes up is because you have a majority, right? You say 70% want the AB. Cool. That's our society. That's what they see values, right?
So they want a choice
30%
that says AB. Choice to have AB. That I personally, I'm against it, but I believe you should have the choice to have AB. Please get that straight.
What's AB mean or AB? I don't know what you're saying.
Baby deletion.
Oh. All right, so the choice. You should have the choice, right?
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
All right, so get this then, right? Because
back in my day, we called it. No,
this. I heard you saying, I'll compare it to smoking. Same thing. You should have a choice to smoke. It's not something that would actually sustain life or anything, because the thing I value is life. But I'm not going to say you can't smoke. It's your life. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like you should be able to do it your life. But then do you honor the life that, let's say in this case you brought up AB? Do we honor the life of the baby? But we can't really determine that because we don't know when life starts. So that's what the point of attention is. Right. Some people see life at this point. Some people see life as soon as baby comes out, or when they're able to actually, I don't know, speak in some way, have some type of way of communicating. Like everyone has their own point of where they want to start life at.
Do as thou will is feminism, liberal left. Maybe you should go read the 9th and 10th Amendments again.
Yes, thank you.
That's pretty much what I see in America, though. It is like do what thou will. It is individuality.
But the whole point is you should have the choice. If 70% of the population say it should be legal, then it should be legal for you to do it and me to not to do it. If we were so wish, okay.
I say do what you want to do.
I think if it doesn't impact somebody else,
me, I don't really care. I had no choice like in this decision. It wasn't my kid you killed. I wasn't there wanting to take a child out. I can care less. I didn't create the child.
It's an individual choice. That's correct. So I should individually individually be able to do it if I want to, and you should individually be able to not do it if you don't want to. Has nothing to do with your choice. Has nothing to do with my choice. Everybody.
But the thing is too. Also, I remember too when people make choices though, right? Because everyone makes decisions. Like whether you smoke or right. I told earlier, right? You can be a smoker. It's your choice. But how does it affect me? It may not. But then I may not like the fact that you do it, and I don't want to be affiliated with someone who like you. Now, that'll be something that you have to deal with being discriminated against in the sense of how people are going to treat you based on your actions.
So I don't care what other people think that way.
But I get that.
The collective, I think in terms of the collective says it should be legal because I should have the right to do it, and you should have the right to not do it. You can't just cut it off because you morally find it offensive. I don't find it morally offensive. So we're two different people on an island, right? And we have a president. The president should rule for the both of us, not just for you because you feel offended against it. He should rule because I don't feel offensive because of it. So he should rule in terms of both of us. So I'm saying because both of us are here in this country, one feels like you shouldn't do it, one person feels like you should do it, it should be a law so I can have that right just like you have the right. That's all I'm saying.
I understand that, and I don't disagree with it. Like I said, I'm with you. Your choice is your choice. I'm just saying people have to be willing to accept the consequences of their choices. That's really my only thing.
That's why I'm on the panel saying what I'm saying, because I'm willing to stand on my principles. I'm willing to stand on it. I just told you I'm willing to stand on it. I'm willing to stand with society. If society says as a collective that it should be legal because I have the right to do it, and it should be legal so you have the right not to do it, I'm for the collective.
All right. So then also, I was only saying like what we could do is like this: how people feel about it. So even though it's legal, say it was back to it's legal everywhere, right? Let's say that's the real thing.
We can't rule by feelings. We have to rule by law.
Well, we can't say that because a lot of the laws are tailored by feelings.
We rule by law, not like emotion. We rule by.
We do run by emotion, though. You know that, right?
No, we
I'll give you one law. What are hate laws?
Ruling by emotion means we cut off all AB in the country because somebody has a moral superiority because they think X, Y, and Z. That would be
the
ruling
thing.
by
Most
morality.
laws are morally based.
So what is your point? We got 70% that believe that we should
I was
all
only saying, like, you're gonna have to deal with the other side of people who think objectively morally than you do. That's the whole point. That's the one thing that I don't get about a mixed society. We have multiculturalism. People have different things that they believe, and it's like people should respect. I agree, people should respect. But the thing is, we don't know how to respect each other because we have no understanding of each other. We don't have to understand each other.
You don't respect what I said. You don't respect my choice. You think
I do respect your choice.
Oh, but then why are we arguing? Because if you respect my choice, then you understand what I said.
I understand what you're saying. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I'm saying, like, you make your choice.
I don't understand what you're saying. Be very blunt. I'm going to feel bad because I feel like that. What are you talking about?
All I'm saying is, when you make your choices, whatever decisions you make, you're going to come across people who don't like what you do. Right. But you have to be willing to accept the fact they don't like you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I said that. I'm willing to stand 10 toes down on whoever makes the choice to do whatever they got to do. I mean, Mr.
I think people say
conservative came on and said, "Oh, you kill X, Y, and Z babies." That doesn't affect me because I understand why people make those decisions. I understand we have a 70% majority that believes that it could be legal for other people. So that doesn't affect me when he runs across that. It's a guilt tactic. And no woman should feel guilty about it because they made the decision, personal decision. Don't worry about the personal decision that I make. Worry about the decision that your wife, your girlfriend makes. Don't worry about the decision that I make. 40 million of us have deleted. Don't worry about those 40 million. You worry about.
We never make that argument when a man abandons his kid. Don't worry about his personal decision. Don't worry about if he didn't want to raise that baby. You would never make that argument for a man abandoning his children. And not only that, when a man abandons his kid, the baby's still alive. When you make your right, baby ain't here no more.
What is the point?
Again, I told you. I understand morally, which is very subjective.
So, like, I understand the argument. I understand the argument that Hood Conservative is talking about. He's talking about men who wants the children, and then the woman had decided that they wanted the AB, right? So he's trying to say that. He's trying to say that in the way they're being forced that they're not going to be a father and they want to be a father, and he's trying to equivalate that as in when a woman has a child and let's say the guy did not ask for the child, he didn't want a child, but then now he has to pay child support.
Let's not do that. Let's not pretend like we're not adults. When you walk into a bedroom and you don't have a condom on, you agree to have a child.
Absolutely, and that's what I was about. That's what about.
So then we cannot have the argument about a child that they did not want.
But that's why I was gonna say, HQ. I was gonna reference that the choice to be a parent or not was made prior to even hitting that bed. Okay. And how you adapted while you was in that fucking bed, whether you took precautions or not. So your choice is never being taken away from you.
That's correct. Because you did we're grown adults. Everybody on this panel and everybody listening to me understands when you walk into a bedroom and you don't have a condom on, you're agreeing to have a child.
So have the child and don't have the AB then. So just have the child. You see what I mean? They're being hypocritical, bro.
All right.
I'm gonna say this. When you say that, you can't say
gotta go.
Your intentions.
So appreciate you having me, Sean. Everybody have a good day. Be safe.
Later, AR.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
What I was saying was you can't necessarily say that because a lot of people don't go by what they know. Most people go by how they feel about the decisions. It's mostly about what I feel in the moment. Ain't no one really trying to think about no kid while they having sex. That's the majority of people, period. So you can say you a grown adult, you should know what you're doing, but we don't go. And that's going to say that's another point. It's like how you make decisions versus what decision was made. Yes, you're right about what decision was made, but the point that's really important is how you make decisions. And a lot of people are not responsible. People don't want to be responsible for how they make decisions. They want to be in the moment, in their feelings, and just allow things to go how they go. And then when things happen away, they get lucky. Sometimes they don't go the way. But they don't want to be accountable because they're not trying to think in that moment when they were doing what they're doing. What is it I'm actually about to do right now? That's not going through their head. They're very emotional at that state when they're sexually aroused and all that stuff. They're very emotional. Both
I don't care
parties.
what panel
No
I
one's
get
thinking like
on,
that.
what panel I get on, whether I run into an educated man or a dumb box of rocks, you all seem the damn same thing. I walked into the bedroom without a condom. It's her problem. How the hell is it that an educated man would say that after I have said you walked into the bedroom without a condom? That means you made a choice to have a child, because all of us know when we lay down,
Y'all both made the choice.
hold on. When we lay down, you know what you're doing when you lay down, regardless of whether you are aroused or you can't think or your brain don't function. The minute you rang that doorbell to go to her bedroom, you still had the choice to have a condom on. So I don't want to hear about, oh, well, she just took my sperm. No, you gave it away. You gave her the choice right then. You gave her the choice. She didn't take it away from you. She didn't decide to have no baby against you. You gave her the choice whether she wanted to have the baby or not, because you skeeted inside of her. So that argument about, she just had a baby, she just got pregnant. No.
I think you misunderstand my language. I'm not coming like that. I know about holding people accountable. I agree with you. I don't disagree with nothing you just said. I'm saying for the most part, I'm only arguing with your one thing that you said was that they should know. Main word, they should. Yes. They should know.
Yes.
But I'm telling you right, and it's not to give them an excuse, but I'm letting you know what their point of weakness is on both sides. When people don't go by what they know, they go by how they feel. That's all I was saying.
Change what I said. How does it change anything?
But that's what I was saying.
Because they're emotional. So I should
they're making emotional decisions. They're not being intentional.
So I should forgive them because they're emotional.
No, you don't have to forgive anybody. Forgiveness for you. That's first and foremost. That's for you. People's problems are their problems. You don't gotta take on people's burdens neither. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not you that's going through it.
Why are you giving somebody an out? Oh man, you were
so giving them out.
You were so aroused by her, you couldn't put a condom on.
No, I'm just simply saying you're being emotional. I'm just simply saying you're being emotional. You're not being rational. You try to be irrational, right? Be rational, be more intentional. I'm saying you do the opposite. I'm saying make decisions, be more intentional, and know what you're doing, rather than just going by how you feel. I'm going against the very argument. I'm siding with you.
Okay. All right. Okay. As long as we got that point, as long as we understand that point, right? Because I thought Hood conservative was going to come with some AB. No, you don't have an argument here, Hood's conservative, because you agree you're complicit. You're complicit in all of that. So as long as
I don't agree with you, Miss. Listen. You want the right to have an out. You don't want men you don't want men to have a right to have an out. So we don't agree. You're fighting for a way out of the decisions you made, but you don't want men to have a way out of that decision. That's where we're going to fall apart. We're going to fall apart right there.
And what out? What are you talking about? What out? What out?
The AB is your out. There's no such thing as men's reproductive rights.
Oh my God. Okay, so again.
Bruh, chill out, bro. You're saying crazy shit right now, bro.
I know it hurts your brain, but that's the truth of it. There is nothing equivalent to that men want.
Be just as selfish. That's all you're counting on arguments.
No, I'm saying I want you to remove the right totally. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it shouldn't even be on the table. Because listen, there is no male equivalent.
You want selfish behavior to continue. That's what you want.
If not having a termination is selfish, are we having an issue with terminology? Because I think it's selfish to get knocked up and then to suck it out of you, bro.
Men to opt out of their children's life. If women,
I'm actually not. No, I'm not advocating for that. I'm highlighting that there is no such thing on the other side. So there's literally nothing on the other side that they can point to.
Would it be better if there was a thing? If that thing did exist, would it make you happier?
I don't want that. I want you to do what you're supposed to do. Stop giving people a cheap out.
So why don't you tell men, again, like she's saying, and like I'm trying to tell you, why don't you keep your sperm to yourself?
I agree with that, but that's not the issue on the table. And men don't have a right to that. You have a protected right as a woman. As a woman.
Hold on.
Do you not understand the problem here? Legally speaking, only one party gets to do over, though.
Hold on, Hood Conservative. Are you saying that men do not have a right to their own sperm that's inside their body?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not a right protected by law. Whereas women's defense against that is a right protected by law. And so men don't have a right protected by law when it comes to that. Men are on their own.
Well, hold on, no, that's not true. So you saying a woman can steal a man's sperm?
Well, technically, yeah, you could.
Is it a law against it?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. You cannot take a man. You cannot if
If she gets pregnant, are you going to charge her with theft?
if the man is willing to, he could send her ass to jail for
what crime? For theft?
for SA.
No, say she goes in a condom. Like, because that's literally stealing it. That's when you say stealing it. Let's say she picks it out of a condom, like the Drake situation, right? There was a girl that said Drake put some hot sauce in the thing, and then she went back and tried to use it, and then burned herself up, and she tried to sue Drake, but he couldn't sue her for stealing though. But he can't sue her. If it was a crime, he would have sued her for stealing that stuff though. It's not a crime. That's the point. It's definitely not a crime. You are not protected.
Well, then that will be something that I would say that if that's happening to more men, then that's something that needs to be on the board. If women are actually taking certain men's, sperm and stuff like that, and they're doing what they need to do to protect themselves just so they can, get impregnated by them, then that should be something on the books. Yeah, absolutely, because that is a crime.
That's cool, but the issue here was that women have rights and men are supposed to just have discipline. And you see how that's an imbalanced situation here. So you get all the protection, but for the men, you just say, "Hey, boy, you better watch yourself." And then you call that equal. Then you act like there's nothing to look at funny. Like, no, I can't look at y'all like y'all allies if that's what you call equality.
Hold on.
I don't know. Only thing I can think of in my head right now is sexual immorality.
So the woman that decides to have a child and the man runs away, whose fault is that?
I mean, it's his fault for running, I guess, if that's how you want to frame it.
I'm asking you a question. That's all I'm doing.
And I answered the question, bro.
You answering it in a way how I framed it or something like that. So I'm just
well, don't frame it in a way if you don't want to answer it in a way. That's you.
I want you to answer the question. So who is that fault? So you saying the man is at fault for leaving the woman?
Pretty much. That's the simplest way to look at it.
Okay, so that's the responsibility, right? So now she got to take care of that child, right? Isn't she responsible?
What are you pointing at, though? What are you saying? She had a way out, though.
What I'm saying, he has a way out.
His way out is not legal. His way out is not legal, though. He can go to jail for that.
Wait a minute. He's talking about the same way out that he was adamantly against this whole entire time?
But that's the point, though. You have a way out, and he doesn't. He can go to jail. She'll never go to jail, no matter how many terminations she did.
Why you
okay,
don't?
I'm understanding.
I don't understand what.
This point of contention basically is.
I'm really trying to understand your point, right? Because it doesn't make any sense. The man, he has his out by not putting his sperm inside the woman. Is that correct?
Right. So his only protection is discipline. Her protection is a right it's a law. It's written into the law. You get police and lawyers involved. Okay, your protection, you just got to be very disciplined. Like, that's not the same situation.
Hold on. So you saying that once a woman decides to have sex with a man, and if he, regardless of what, he decides to bust a nut inside of her, she should not have no rights after that?
She still has rights. What do you mean rights after that? You have the right to raise your baby that you made.
Okay, right. But that's the only right she should have, is just to have the kid.
Why should the baby die because you're a slut, bro? That's crazy talk.
So women are sluts who have sex with men?
No, but if that's your only solution, if you just want to have a baby, I mean, if you get pregnant and then you obviously have a baby and you just say, well, I don't want him no more, what am I supposed to think about that?
This is why.
Okay, so that's fine. So,
wow. That's crazy.
Okay, so you saying that no matter what this man, if he's a good man, bad man, whatever, he has sex with this woman, they wind up having a child. Now that man should just be taking care of a host child for the rest of his life, right? That's what you.
If it's his kid, it's his kid. What are you gonna do? I mean, what are you gonna do, bro? It's your kid now. You gotta do something for it.
And so every woman should be subjected to that, because if a man want to just impregnate a woman, Yes, because if you want to impregnate her, because he don't care, because he knows he's not going to take care of the child. He don't care. So she should have to take care of that child, whether the man wants to or not.
Are you subjected to a natural biological function? You sound like biology is oppressive.
I want you
Is
to understand.
biology oppressive?
It can be, right? So if the man wants
How
to
is
have
biology oppressive?
because if the man want to has a child and she does not, he can use that against her.
Well, don't have sex then.
So now you're saying that women should not be having sex at all.
If you don't want to have a child, don't have sex. Sex is for babies. Pleasure is a byproduct.
And so therefore women should be controlling that situation, not men.
Well, listen, you only want men to have discipline. Why can't both parties have discipline?
Then you should have led with that argument in the beginning, because I'm in agreement. I do believe that both people supposed to have discipline. And if we have discipline and also maintain rights, then you wouldn't feel like you're not, you know, you don't have any rights.
But this is not the problem. The problem is he blames the woman. It's not that he blames the man. He blames the woman for getting pregnant.
Right.
Absolutely.
Discipline. So no, we're not going to indulge you with this. Both of them should have discipline. You think it's the female's problem that she gets pregnant. It is what it is. We heard the undercurrent misogyny right out of your mouth.
Well, that's H2. That's how
make
a lot of these
men
men
have a baby, right? So if they both do it. If they both did it, it's
a lot of men feel like
her,
this. A lot of men have this type of mindset, really. You know, like, hey, if she gets pregnant, oh well, that's on her. Hey, she let me get she lets me come get inside her. That's on her. So there should not be no arguments with the birth rate going down and declining, and women actually stepping back and not even trying to date and stuff like that. Y'all should be in agreement.
Y'all just want to get out of jail free card, though.
Well, guess what? When women don't participate, you don't need a do-over, right? When women don't participate, there is no do-over that's needed. So there's the solution, right?
Right. So stop participating. You don't get a get out of jail free card.
Hold on.
Yo, service. I got a question for you though. One second, Sharon. I need to know, is your true point of contention? Because I think it's disingenuous. Because I don't think most men give a fuck if the woman's aborted or not. To tell you the truth, I think it comes down to the fact that she's getting backed up with law enforcement to enforce men to step up for misusing their penises. That's all I'm fucking hearing.
How is only one person? Hold on, no. How is only one party misusing anything? I don't hurt. Listen, me getting you pregnant isn't a crime, you know.
No, but you not being a father is.
It's not even immoral. It's not even immoral. It's a perfectly natural thing. But we want to treat it. But we want to treat the man as a criminal now. But we'll never treat the woman like a criminal, even though they both enjoyed the same act.
The law exists in the first place. Do you know why that exists?
It doesn't matter why it's wrong, bro.
It does matter. That why is very important. It's very important, bro. First off, we have a society of people. We're here to preserve life, right? We also need people to be replaced with families, all right? Most important thing for us for families. We did that to protect families, okay? You can't just go around being Genghis Khan and putting 900 women out here being reckless out here. That destroys America, destroys families, all right? Families are the cornerstone of America, period. And you want to go out and make laws to protect families. That's the reason why that exists. It's not to, get back at the men because they should step up. No, it's because you're being reckless, being Genghis Khan out here, making all these little babies, and you ain't doing nothing. Just allowing shit to get destroyed out here.
Look at what you just said, bro. Your idea of women's right to protect the family and life is literally terminating a child. And you call that protecting family and life.
I said putting attention is you being held responsible. Men have to be held responsible for their actions.
Hold on, conservative. So, do you agree that if you get a woman pregnant, that a man should have to marry her?
I think she should have to marry him.
Okay. So what you really actually believe in is that all the power should be in whatever the man chooses. He decides to put his sperm on her. If she gets pregnant, she has to keep it, and she has to marry him too. Correct? Is that correct?
Say that again. I lost you for a second.
So you're saying all the power should be in the man. He decides to put his sperm inside her, so she get pregnant, she has to keep it. And after she has to keep it, she also has to marry him. Correct?
Oh, back in the day, that's what people used to do.
I'm asking you a question.
I think it's a better system. Yes, I think once he knock you up, you're kind of marked now. You're gonna have to work it out.
And so now, what choice does she have in that situation?
Don't get knocked up by that guy.
So her only choice is to not have sex with him.
It's funny how he says that when there's plenty of women who get SA and rape, even children, even young girls. So is that the fate that you wish for your own daughter, that she has to be forcibly have to marry a potential essayist or a rapist?
Well, you always go to the extreme, but as far as my own
that's
daughter,
not extreme. That's real life.
Lady.
That's real life. That's not extreme. That's real life. That happens every single day.
We don't live in the Middle East. We live in America. It doesn't happen to you.
It happens every single day in America, goofball.
I can't. This is MJ. This is crazy. I don't know.
Well, you know, you like to have the conversations with the.
I do. It's I'm glad that we could get it out and we could get to hear more perspectives. But
yeah, absolutely. Woo. I mean, you know, it's tiresome. You know, your energy and your logic gets sucked out your face. But you know, nonetheless, I think it was a good show.
Woo, man, interesting. We'll see y'all later tomorrow. Today, I'm not sure when. I gotta go do my steps. I gotta do 3 miles. I will see y'all later.
Don't get mad at me, nigga. I'm here telling the truth. If somebody else should have told you this.